Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically now today we are going to see this topic, that is histogram function with multiple data sets. Okay, so this is the topic that we are going to see today in the under the matplotlib library, that histogram function with multiple data sets. Let me just connect this here, and first of all let me increase out the size. Here we go. I think this much is okay, right? And let me name this as histogram. Okay, so here we go, the histogram. Okay, it is like this, right? That's absolutely fine. So in the previous video as well, we had seen about the histogram functions with the data sets, right? But we had not seen it with the multiple data sets. And today we are going to see some another functions, not the same ones which we have discussed previously, not that one, right? We are going to see some new ones today, right? So as this function comes under the matplotlib library, so what I'll be just doing is that I'll be importing out my matplotlib library, and I'll be taking multiple data sets. So in that case, I'll be using out my NumPy library as well. Okay, because I'll be using out my random function, and that we have in the NumPy library only. Right? So in that case, I'll be importing. Let's start importing. So the very first thing I'm just going to import here is that import NumPy as NP. Right? So NumPy is one of the libraries that I have imported, and NP is the short form name which I have given to my NumPy library. So whenever I would just write NP, so that will directly refer to my NumPy library. Okay, after that I will be writing import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Right, so matplotlib.pyplot is my library which I am actually referring to, and plt is a short form which I have given to this particular library. Right. Okay, so I basically okay, so it is allocating, right? So it is basically giving me the idea. Fine. After this, basically, as soon as it connects, after this I will start running it. Okay, so import numpy is np and import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Okay, just let me click on this once again. Okay, I'm reconnecting it once again. Fine. Now basically what I will be just doing is that I'll be making several bins here. Okay, now that bins will actually help me to I just want that how many bins actually I want. Bins is the number of bars which I actually want in my histogram. It is actually what we call as bins, right? So I'll be writing here that a underscore, and I will just write here bins. Okay, that is bins, right? And let's say here I mentioned that I want 10 bins. Okay, just give me 1 second. Let me just quickly connect it to the internet here. Disconnect and then again connect. Fine. Okay, now let's say I just want 10 bins here. Okay, a underscore bins is equal to, let's say, 10. I just want it to be here. Right, after this what I would just do, I would just come on to a new line. Okay, now here basically I'll be using a random variable. I'll be using a variable. Let's say that is a. Okay, now a is equal to, basically let's say a is one of my variables which I have taken. So a is equal to, here I'll be applying my random function. So np dot random dot that is rand n. Okay, a is equal to np dot random dot, okay, let me just write it as rand n. Okay, np dot random dot rand n, and into the bracket I'll be giving out a particular range. Let's see that range I'm just gonna give here is, let's say, 2000 comma and let's say 5. Okay, this is the rand n range, the random numbers range which I have actually given here. Right, now I have set out the bins, that actually what number of bins I want. I had set out the range, that inside, like between what range I just do wanted this. Right, that both the things I have done. Now I'll be coming on to a new line here, and I'll be defining out the figure and my axis. Right, so fig is basically my figure. Okay, just give me 1 second. Let's move here. Click on the okay, right. So fig is basically my one of the variables which I have taken, right, fig. And now what I would just do, I would just put out a comma and define different x's here. So let's say my I have axis number 0, I have axis number 1, okay, and in another bracket, let's say I have axis number 2 and I have axis number 3. Right, this is actually, let's say, what all I have, all the axes which I have here, right? And into this, what I would actually save, I'll be saving plt dot, and that would be subplots. Right, basically the subplots which we have, I'm just writing that plt dot subplots, and I'll be defining the n number of rows that is equal to, let's say, 2, and I'll put out a comma and I'm just defining the n number of columns. So let's say n number of columns also I want 2. So rows are 2 and columns are 2. So it would be looking like a square, right? Now basically one of my graphs will be coming at a 0, 0 position. Another will be coming at a 0, 1. Third will be coming at a 1, 0, and fourth will be coming at a 1, 1, 1. These are the four like positions where my graphs will be coming out, right? Okay, now basically what I would just do here is that I would be writing here and start writing here. So I'll be just defining first of all the colors which I actually want here. Okay, defining all of those colors which I want. So in that case, I'll be defining a variable that is colors is equal to, and now let's say the colors are, I want the colors to be, let's say I want it to be yellow. After that, let's say I want it to be red, and let's say I even want it to be in the blue. Okay, let's say these are the three colors which I actually want. Fine. Come on to the next line. Okay, now basically it has been connected, so I would just run out the very first line now. Okay, let it basically run. Okay, fine. So these are the colors which I have actually defined out here. Right, now what I will be just doing is that I'll be writing the ax0 dot hist. I'm just making the hist plot, right? So in that hist, and after that I'll be taking out my parameters, that is a comma a underscore bins, right? So a comma underscore bins. Right, now what about my density? I have one parameter, that is density, and I'll be setting it as true. Okay, so density is equal to true. Now what is the hist type? So what is the hist type? So my hist type is, let's say for the first it is bar. Okay, what about my color? So for the color I have already saved that onto a variable that is colors, right? Now what about my labels? So okay, labels, label like this. Okay, my label will also be my colors. Okay, so that is colors like this. Okay, all of the things I have done, I would come on to a new line here, and basically here I'll be writing ax0 dot legend, dot legend, right? And into the bracket I'll be passing prop, that is basically the proportion, and that is equal to, okay, that is equal to, property is equal to. Now into the bracket I'll be mentioning the size. Okay, now let's say my size which I want is, let's say 12. Okay, right here. So this is done. And what about setting out my title? So for that I'll just write ax.0 set underscore title. Into the bracket my title would be, okay, my title is, let's say bars with legends. I would just not write this. Let's say my title is bar. Okay, that is, let's say bars. Let it be like this only, that is bars. Okay, now what I would just do here is that I'll be coming on to a new line, and basically I'll be just coming on to a new line, and now I'll be setting something here, right? So let's say now I'll be just writing out ax1. So ax1 dot, and here it would be hist, right? ax1 dot hist, and into the bracket I'll be writing the parameter, that is a comma, I'll just write here a underscore bins, a comma a underscore bins, and after that what about my density? So my density is, let's say true. Okay, and what about my hist type? So let's say my hist type is again the bar. Okay, let's say again my hist type is bar only, so that is here bar. Put out a comma. After that I'll be writing about the stacked. So will that be stacked? So yes, I want it to be stacked. So in that case I'm just passing here as true, right? I would just come on to a new line, true. Okay, right, now new line I'll just write here ax1 dot, what about my title? So I'll just write set dot title. Into the bracket I'll be writing that stacked bars, that is bars, right? Okay, ba, like this. Okay, come on to the next line. This is done. Now what I would just do, I would just do this thing for the ax2. Okay, so here we go, ax2 dot, this is hist, in the bracket a comma a underscore bins, comma, what about my density? So density would be, okay, now here density will not come, here would become first of all my hist type. So hist type, now what is my hist type? So now that is the step. Okay, Put out a comma. What about the stacked? So yes, I want it to be stacked. So in that case, I just write here as true. Okay. What about the fill? So no, I do not want to fill it. So in that case, I'll be passing here the false. Come on to the next line. AX2 dot set underscore title. What title to set here? So that will be stack. Let's say the title is stack step. Okay, that is done. Right now, I'm just left with the fourth thing, and that is basically my AX3. Okay, so for that, basically, I would be just making a random number differently. Okay, right, let me just define that here. So that would be A underscore, okay, not where it is. Oh, how did it come run basically? Right, let me just close this from here. Fine, let me just write that A underscore, and let's say the line, it is multi. Okay, let's say my variable A underscore multi, right? I'd be writing here np dot random. Okay, np dot random dot okay, rand n. Okay, rand n, and into the bracket I'll be passing out the variable which we have taken above. So which variable we had taken above? So that was basically okay, I can just pass anything here, right? Any variable I can just pass it. So that is b for me. Okay, come on to the here. After this, so I will just apply a for loop, that for b in, and I will just put out a range here. Right, let's say that is 1000 comma 5000 comma 1000 5000, and let's say that is 10,000. Okay, let's say these are the ranges which I had just put on here. Fine. Okay, fine. Come on to the next line. Okay, now here I would just write ax3 dot, and that would be hist actually. Okay, ax3 dot hist, and into the bracket it would be a underscore multi. Okay, a underscore multi comma we have a underscore bins, right? A underscore bins. Let me just write it like this. Okay, a underscore bins. Then I have comma. What is my hist type? So let me write it like this. So my hist type is, let's say, bar only, right? And what about setting out my title? So in that case, I have ax3 dot set underscore title. So that is title like this. Into the bracket, it is basically I would just write different samples. Okay, different samples, right? And at last, I just write here fig dot tig tight underscore layout the brackets, and at last plt dot show. And here, okay, I just need to put out the brackets as well after the plt dot show. That is wrong actually. Okay, let me put out that like this, and now let's run it once here, and let's see that basically what is appearing. Okay, let's have a look at what error it is actually giving me. So color kw per dataset, 5 datasets, and 3 colors were provided. Okay, color is equal to colors. Okay, okay, let's take the different colors. Let me just define some different colors inside this. So let's say I would be taking the colors as okay, let's say that is red. I'll be putting out red, and let's say not this one, I'm just writing it like this, red, comma, let's say that is blue, and comma, let's say that is green. Okay, I just again forgot to put out that semicolons in the green, so let me just put that out here. Okay, right, this is done, and now let me quickly run it once again. Fine, so it is giving me that color work must have one color per dataset. 5 datasets are three colors are provided. Okay, why it is showing me that 5 datasets are here. Okay, let's see that basically what's the error is. Okay, so actually here I had just written here 5 instead of this 5, it should be 3 because I'm just passing the 3 colors, right? Okay, and other than that, it is showing rectangle object no attribute his. Okay, here correct the spelling for the his type, and here we go. Right? Okay, fine. So FIF is not defined. Okay, so here it is FIG instead of this fig. Okay. Now, yes, basically now our output has come finally, and this is my output which I am getting bars, a stack step, and different samples, right? So this one is from a bar, this one is my stack, this one is my from inside that this field is empty, and here it is again basically giving me the bars, right? So basically I hope that you have got a clear and a fair idea that actually how we can make different types of hist plot with passing on the different basically data values and all those things, right? So we'll be meeting up in the next video with some more plots. So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically today we are going to see that how you can just make a horizontal bar plot, right? So in the previous video what actually we had seen how you can make a normal bar plot, right? That was a normal one that looks like normally like it was having straight vertical bars in it. Fine. Now, if you want to just want to make that horizontal bar plot, right? That basically all the bars that are there in this bar plot, they should come in the horizontal direction. Fine. So how we are gonna do that thing? So we'll be seeing that thing. So just let me quickly take a text here and let me just quickly add the heading so that it is properly visible to each and every one of you, even with the correct spelling. That's what we are gonna make today. Fine. So we are gonna make here horizontal bar plot. Okay, horizontal bar plot. We are just gonna make this today. Fine. So basically the first step that we always do whenever we just want to make any plot. So the first step that we always follow is that we import the libraries that we are just needing. Right. So as we all know that we are moving on with the series of matplotlib library. So I would be importing my matplotlib.pyplot library, and even I would be taking my numpy library because I would be giving my own data set, because I'm just not referring any particular data set, so that your access is not restricted to a particular data set. Okay, you can just understand the whole procedure, that how you can just make a horizontal bar plot, and you can just try making this bar plot on any of the data whichever you are getting, right? So firstly, my first step is to import out my library. So I'll be writing here import matplotlib.pyplot as plt, right? So import my matplotlib.pyplot is my library that I am using, and plt is the short form that I have given to my matplotlib.pyplot library. So import matplotlib.pyplot means that I am importing this library onto my this file, right? And I just used as and this plt. So it is plt the short form that I have just given to this library. So so that basically wherever you just wanted to need this library, okay, wherever you just want to use this library, so instead of writing this whole long name, you can simply write plt, and that would surely refer to matplotlib.pyplot, right? So this is the idea behind importing this. And the second which I'm just going to import is my numpy library, because I would be using my random module. Okay, so in that case, I have just imported my numpy library. So for that, what I have done, I have taken my numpy, import numpy as np. So np is the short form that I have given to my numpy library. So because at whatever place I'm just using this numpy library, so instead of writing this whole name, I should only write np, and that would surely refer to my numpy library. Fine. So this is the meaning of these two lines which I have just written right now. Okay, and I will just run this for a while. Clear. Now, my second step that comes here is that I need to define out my data, right? I need to make my data. And before making out my data, what I am just going to do is that I'm just going to give some particular parameters here. Okay, let's have a look at what I am actually going to give. And now I would just request you to pay proper attention towards here, because from this point, this making of that horizontal bar chart actually starts. Okay, so in that case, I'm just going to pass here fig comma ax. So these two are the parameters that I am passing into my matplotlib.pyplot subplots. Okay, plt.subplots. Now this ax is, and basically these are used to give some particular size. Okay, whenever you just want to give some particular size to your like frame whichever you are just making, to plot which you are making, we simply use these two parameters, that is fig and ax, right? And here I am basically referring to subplots, because I am going to make these plots using my matplotlib.pyplot library. Fine. Now, next thing that comes here is that I am just gonna give some names. Names in the sense that I am basically gonna define a tuple here, and inside that tuple, I'm just gonna give some names that my horizontal bar chart would appear. So in that particular bar, what name should be present? Okay, what should be the name of that group that should be present on the particular bar? Fine. So in that case, I would be passing here the tuple. Okay, so tuples are always passed inside the small brackets, right? We all know this thing. So I'm just passing that here inside the small brackets, and I would basically, let's say I'll be giving it A, and let's say the name of my bars would be in the form of ABCD, okay? A, B, and it would be C. Let's say that would be D, and even that would be E. So let's say I'm just gonna make 5 bar plots here, five bars. Okay, in my bar plot, I'm gonna make 5. So according to that only, I have just passed here the name of the each and every bar. Okay, so in that case, I have just given here 5. Now this basically depends on you, not basically how many bars you want to make, right? If you are just taking a random data set, in that case, it totally depends on you that how many bars you want to make. And if you are like just referring any data, so in that case, whatever the values that your data is having, unique values your data is having, it will take on to that automatically. You need not to do this thing. Fine. So this is basically, I just defined my first parameter, first variable, that is name. Now second comes is that I want to, first I would be just finding out the length. Okay, I'll be writing y underscore x's. This is the parameter that I have taken. Okay, y underscore x's. So np dot a range. Okay, a range is my function that I am using, and in that I am simply checking out the length for the name. Okay, so why I am checking? Because according to that only I will be plotting the things on the y-axis, right? Because on the x and on the y, basically both the things would be same. So for the x-axis, like okay, according to that, basically here length of the name is fine. Okay, that is okay here. Now, what next I would be doing here is that I would be making one value as one of my variable. Now, in this basically, I would be giving that what value, like how much long that bar should be plotted for A, how much long for B, how much long for C, right? We need to do this thing because we need to give the X values and even the Y values. So, I have given the names. Now, comes the term for turn for giving out the values, right? So, for value, basically, I would be writing, let's say here I am just taking some like some random value. Okay, let's say 5 plus 15, and what I will be just doing is that I will be multiplying it by some random numbers. Okay, so multiply it by np dot np dot random dot rand n, and in the basically in the bracket I'll be passing the length of the name. Okay, so basically whatever are the random values that are gonna come, so that would be coming in the length of the name. Name is one of my variables that I have taken, right? Now basically here the values which I have taken, you can just take any value. Okay, if you just want to define a particular value, you can even define that also. There is no restriction like that. Okay, now, what next comes here is that I would be even defining one more parameter, and that is error. So basically, we all see that whenever we just plot the plots, so in that basically we always see one black line in the middle of each and every bar, right? So that is basically my error, correct? So in that case, I'm just gonna write that also. So that should be np dot random dot rand in, and in the bracket I will be passing my length, and inside the length I will be passing the length of the name. Okay, because name is the variable for which we are considering the length from the very starting. Fine. So I would just follow that same only here also. Fine. Right, that is done. Now basically now it is my turn to make that bar plot. Okay, now it's the turn for doing that. So for that I'll be using a parameter that I have defined for making my subplots, and that is AX. Remember this first line, right? Here I have just done that thing. So after coming here I'll be just using AX dot. Now I'll be using bar H. Now bar is my bar plot and H is actually referring to my horizontal bar plot. Okay. So whenever I just want to make my horizontal bar plot, so in that case I'll be using bar and then H after that bar word. Okay. Now coming to my brackets, I'm just going to pass the values and the things. So first I'll be passing my y underscore x's variable. Then I'll be just passing my value variable as well. And even I'll be passing now what error is there. So for error, I have already made one variable, and that is error. Okay. So that I'll be passing into the parameter that is XERR. Right. Now we had even seen these things in the previous one also, right? And what alignment do I want? So for that, I'm just passing out my align function here, and in that align function, I'll be passing here as center. Fine. Basically, whatever the bar plots and all the things and the line that error that will be occurring, that will be coming into my center of my bar. Okay, so this line actually means this thing. Fine. Now, basically, what I'm just gonna give here is that I'm just gonna say that what should come on the y-axis, what should come on the x-axis. Okay. So in that case, I'm just gonna write ax dot set underscore y ticks. Okay. So that means that basically on the y-axis, what value should come. So on the y-axis, value should come for y underscore axis. Okay, and y underscore axis, in this we are having the length for the name. So basically these names would be coming on my y-axis. Okay, and what about the other one? So in that case, I will be writing here ax dot set underscore y tick labels. Now basically whatever the bars I am gonna get in that, what should be labeled? That means that what should be the name for each and every bar. For that I have saved all of that things in my into my name variable, right? Into my name variable I have saved A B C D E. So here in the bracket I will be passing here as name. Fine. So this is the whole idea. And now basically what I will be doing is that I will be using one another function, that is invert. Okay, ax dot invert underscore y axis. Fine. Y axis is my variable. This is not my variable, and now understand here, this y axis is the function, that axis which we are having here. Okay, so my variable which I had made, that was y underscore axis, and this is only y axis. Okay, make sure to understand those things. Now basically I want to set some label for the x axis, so I'll be setting that. So I'll be writing ax dot set underscore x label, that what should come on the x label. As soon as I'm just going to the names would be coming, that is A B C D E, what should come. So let's say I would just take an example that it would be names of person. Let's say this is a random one which I have taken, right? Now if you're just gonna make like you are making for a particular one, then you can just add out that names. Fine. And at last what I'm just gonna do here is that I'm just gonna set the title. Right, if you just want to keep out these steps, you can. If you just want to leave these steps, that totally depends on you. But here I'm covering each and every step, so it totally depends on you, that basically whatever you just want to include, you can include. Whatever you just want to exclude, you can even exclude also. Fine. So the title I have just given here as horizontal bar plot, and whenever we just want to see anything here in the matplotlib library, what we do, we simply write plt.show, right? So basically it is used for seeing the plots that we are making, right? And I would just run this here for a while. And now basically here what I have my horizontal bar plot. Fine, you are able to see my horizontal bar plot, right? Now have a look at A, B, C, D and E. All the 5 are the names which I have given into my name function, right? Other than that, basically I am having here positive values as well as negative values also, right? Now for the positives, the direction of my bar plot is towards the right one, and for the negatives, the direction of my bar plot is towards the left. But what's the common thing here? The common thing is that I am getting my horizontal bar plots. So all the plot, all the bars which we can see here, these are all in the horizontal direction, right? And in between you are able to see that black error one, right? And even here are some negative values, and even we have some positive values also, because we have taken a random one. So that totally depends, fine, that what random value actually we are getting. Fine. So this is actually how we can just make a bar plot in matplotlib library, and that is my horizontal bar plot. Okay. In the previous video we had seen how to make a normal vertical bar plot. Now today we had seen how to make a horizontal bar plot. Right. So I hope this must be very clear to you, that how to add out the parameters, how to write the things, how to give the variables, and how to see the final output. Right. So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically today we are going to see that how we can make a plot for categorical variable in matplotlib library. Right, now basically let me just quickly let you know that what actually I mean from categorical variable. Okay, now from in basically the data which you are having, that data is consisting 2 types of variables. The first variable is actually the numerical, and second one is categorical. So from numerical we understand that whatever the columns are having some numerical value, let's say integer, float, okay, that are called your numerical variables, and the columns that are having your values, that are having values in the form of strings, in the form of characters, that is actually called as categorical variable. Fine. So these are the two variables which we have in a data set, right? So the plot actually which we are going to make today is categorical variable plotting. I will let you know that how you can just plot a categorical variable. Okay, so let me quickly put out the heading here, and that is categorical variable plotting. Okay, categorical variable plotting, this is the plot which we are gonna make today. Fine. So as we all know that whenever we just want to make any plot using any library, so the very first step is that we need to import that library, right? So for importing the library, the form is, I will be writing here import. Fine. Import is the way thing that I would be using here. It is a keyword actually. Okay, so after this import, basically I'll be using matplotlib. Matplotlib is my library, right? So I'll be directly using my matplotlib.pyplot, okay, as plt, right? So here I have just made like use my matplotlib.pyplot library, and I have simply given it a short form, and that short form is actually plt, right? So that I can just like, I do not need to write this whole name everywhere in the program. Wherever I would just use this matplotlib.pyplot library, I would simply write plt at that place, and that will absolutely work for me. Okay, this is the idea behind taking the short form for this. Now, my next step that comes to me here is that I would be defining my data. Okay, I'll be defining my data. So I'll be taking one categorical column and one numerical column. Okay, the values which I'll be taking, in that values, one column would be categorical and another would be numerical. Right. So here I'll be writing, let's say the name for that I have just given here data. Okay, the variable in which I will be storing my data, I have given it as a name of data only. Right. Now what I would be doing is that I would be defining a dictionary. Now basically my dictionary will contain my key and my value. So key would be my categorical variable and values would be my numerical variable. Fine. So data is equal to, and here basically I'll be writing Monday. Let's say Monday, and I'll put a colon and assign it a value as 15. Okay, this is basically how we denote, like how we just write the things inside a dictionary, right? Now here this Monday is acting as a key for me, and this 15 is acting as a value. Right. I would do the same thing for 2 or 3 more variables. So I would just write here Tuesday, and let's say in place I would just write here as 5. Okay, single colon I will be putting. Okay, again I will put a comma, and let's say here I will be writing Wednesday. Okay, I will put again a colon, and here I will be writing, let's say 25. And what I will be just doing is that 25. Right, I would again put a comma, and here basically I would be adding THUR is Thursday. Right, and here, okay, for Thursday also I will put the semi-quotes like this, and here like this, and put a colon. Let's say you write the center 10. Fine, these are the values which I have just entered here. My data is containing my categorical value and my numerical value that are in the form of key and values, right? Because I have declared a dictionary this side. Now what I'll be doing, I'll be making one variable that is days. Now in this days variable will be containing the list of all the keys that I have in my data. In my data, I have keys as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, right? This is a list of keys that I have. So now in my days variable, what I would be doing is that I would be storing a list of these keys. So how will I be doing that? So in the starting, I would be writing list. Okay, I'll put the bracket. And firstly, I would write the variable name in which my keys are stored, that is data. And here I will be using my function, that is keys. Right, so this is the value, this is the way basically how will I be storing my keys into my variable, that is days. Right, and I'll be making one another variable that is kilometer underscore run. Now this is km underscore run is my another variable, and in this basically I would be storing the data. I'd be storing the values. Okay, in the days I have stored the keys. Now in kilometer underscore run I would be storing the value. So for that also I'll be declaring a list, and in the bracket I'll be using data dot values, and here I'll be putting the bracket. Right, so this is the procedure that I'll be following here. Now, what is my next step here? My next step here comes to me that I need to write out the, I need to give out the figure size, that what actually the figure size should be, right? That I will be wanting here. So I'm writing fig, comma, AXS, XS, okay, fig, comma, XS, okay. Now I put an equal to sign here, and basically I'll be giving it as PLT dot subplots, okay. Now, inside the bracket, I'll be giving here some n number of rows and columns, okay? N rows and n columns. Fine. So, in that case, n rows I am going to give here as 1 and columns I am going to give here as 3, okay? And basically, after that, I'll be declaring a figure size, that is fig and size, okay? Fig size. Now, basically, okay, here I need to write S, right? Now, basically, what should be the size of the figure that I am getting here, right? So, let's say I want the figure size to be 10, 4. Okay, length should be 10 and the breadth for that should be 4. Right, other than that, I'll put a colon here, and basically we have another parameter, and that is share y. Okay, share y is another parameter, and that I would just put it here as true. Fine. So this is the way basically I have just like made my variables fib, comma, ax, x's, and stored the things into this. Now, basically, my next thing comes that here I'll be plotting 3 plots at one time. Okay, my plot would be bar plot, scatter plot, and line plot. Okay, so I'll be plotting all the 3 at a single time. Okay, so for that, what I'll be doing, x is 0. Now, at the first position, basically here indexes work from 0, 1 to, right? So this x is 0 means that what should be my first plot. Okay, so at x is 0, my first plot, let's say should be scatter. Okay, at the first I want to scatter, and here I'll be writing days. Now days is my variable in which I have stored my keys of the data that I have here. Right, so I have stored that key. So here I just simply wrote days. I would put a comma, and here I would be writing kilometer underscore run, km underscore run. Fine. So here I have just stored my values what I am having here. Same procedure I'll be following for my x is 1, axis, and in bracket I'll be writing 1. I'll put a dot, and instead of this scatter, now I would be simply writing my plot. Now this simply plot actually will refer to my line plot. Okay, you all know that what is line plot, right? We had already discussed these things in the Seaborn library. So here that plot, okay, and in the bracket I'll be passing days, comma, kilometer underscore run. Fine, these are the two variables. I would not repeat that what actually they are referring to, because I have already told you that thing. Right, now x is, and in bracket I'll be writing here as 2, and dot I'll be writing here as scatter. Okay, so scatter has been done. Now I'll be writing bar plot, okay, and in the bracket I would be again passing days, comma, kilometer underscore run. Right, so till now I have just declared all the 3 plots which I want to make from the variables that are days and kilometer, km underscore run. Right, and here basically at the last what I'll be doing is that I'll be using my fig. Okay, fig dot. Now basically what should be a title? So subtitle here should be, and what I just want my title to be, so I want my title to be categorical plots. Categorical plots. Right, I want my title to be categorical plots. So I have just written that thing here inside the brackets, and that is categorical plots. And now I would just run this here for a while. Now let's have a look at basically what output we get, and yes, this is the output that I am getting here. And okay, this is basically the first one is my scatter plot, second one is my line plot, and third one is my bar plot. Okay, what I'll be doing is that instead of this 4, I'll be giving here 5, because like the space is less, so all the names were messing up. Right, now it is okay. Right, so have a look that basically I got 4 days here, that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yes, this was a thing that I have written in the data. So my data was having Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and the values were 15, 5, 25, and 10. Right, so here I have just got the same points, that is 15. Okay, just 1 second, let me come down here. Okay, that is 15, 5, 25, and 10, right? These are the values which I have got here. Now, according to that only, similar to that, I have got my line plot, and similar to that only, I have got my bar plot. Right, so here this is actually, I have just made 3 plots using one single code, and that is basically depicting and making my categorical plots. Now, categorical variables, I have already told you that they actually refer to the variables that are basically having the characters or strings stored into them, right? The columns that have strings of characters, that is called categorical column, right? Now here it is basically plotted. Now if I just want to add some more things into here, let's say I want to remove this one. Okay, before adding, let's remove it once, and I would just remove it. Now when I would just make it, so again I just got only three things here, that is Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and a Thursday has been removed from my list because I have just removed that thing. Fine, now you can just make this thing using any data. So in that, basically you need not to write all these things here. Okay, these three lines are not to be written if you are taking any data. You simply need to write, simply need to read your CSV data using the procedure that I have already mentioned in the pandas library. And simply you can just write x is 1, 0 and 2, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically today we are gonna make a group bar chart with the labels, right? So in the matplotlib library itself, we have another plot, and that is grouped bar chart. Fine. So we are just gonna make that today. And what is the best thing in that group bar chart which we are gonna make today? So in that, let's say a bar is coming, right? Now on top of that bar, you'll be able to see that, okay, what is the number which is written here? So that is actually called with labels. So the main title of the plot which we are gonna make today is grouped bar chart with labels. Let me just quickly write on that thing so that you can even just make your notes and even have a good look over that. So I would just put a comment here. So the name for that is grouped bar chart with labels. So I would just write here grouped bar, and I would just name it as chart. Okay, instead that you can just name it as plot also, that your wish. Okay, so grouped bar chart, and then I would just write with labels, right? So this is basically the topic which we are gonna discuss today, right? So in this, basically what I would be needing, I would be needing some variables, right, on which I would be plotting the plot. So that I would be just making on my own. I'm just not taking any particular data set, right? So I'm just gonna give you the whole idea that how to make a plot. After that, you can just work this thing on any of the data and you will not be facing any issues, right? So let's get started with the things for now. So the very first thing that I'm just gonna do here is that I'm just gonna import my libraries that I would be needing, right? So as we are making the plots using the matplotlib library, so first thing is that I'll be importing that matplotlib library here. Okay, so I'll just write here import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. So basically here I have just given the short form to this matplotlib.pyplot library, and that is plt. Okay, just come down, and here I've just even be importing my numpy library. So import numpy as np. Right, so these two are the things which I have just done here. Firstly, I've imported my matplotlib library.pyplot and give it a short form as plt. Other than that, I have imported my numpy library and given it a short form as np. Right, so this is the step, and I would just run my program here. Right, after this, what comes here is that I would be just giving a variable, and in that those variables for which I want to plot the bar plot. Okay, for which I just want to plot the grouped bar chart. Fine. So I was just taking an example that let's say there are some classes for students, and in that case basically what is the number of girls in that class and what is the number of boys in that class. Okay, this is the example and this is the data which I'll be plotting and taking as an example here. Right, so for that basically what I have just done here is that I have taken my classes as a variable. I would make a list here. Okay, now in that one basically I would just write C7. Okay, that is basically my class 7. Okay, my class 7th, then 8th, and then I would just go on to class 9. Even I would just make it as class 10, and at last I would make it as class 11, C11. Right, so this is actually class 7th, class 8th, class 9, 10 and 11. Fine, so I have just stored all these things inside a list. Right, so after making the variable for my classes, what next I would be just doing, I would be just making the girls and boys variables. Okay, so for that I would just writing here girls is equal to, now I would be just writing some random number for which I'm just denoting that in C7, let's say in class 7 this much number of girls are there, in class 8 that is C8 this much number of girls are there, and like this. Right, so for that I would just enter here, let's say I would just enter 25, 39, Okay, 25, 39, let's say 19, let's say 28, and let's say 12. Right, so these are the number of girls which I am having in these respective classes. After that, I have boys. Okay, so after girls, I have boys here, and let's say I just like enter some values for the boys as well. In that case, let's say I enter 29, let's say 29, then 18, and then 21, then let's say 32, and then let's say 24. Right, these are the values which I have entered here. Fine. Now, basically, after making all of these things, what I'll be just doing is that I'll be taking the length of my classes. Now, classes is my variable, which I have just declared very firstly, and according to that only, whatever the classes I have taken, I would take the length of it, and according to that only, I would just plot the bars. So, from that case, we'll just get to know that, okay, basically, how many bars we need to plot, okay? So, and basically we'll be also getting to know that what labels to write onto the x-axis, right? So for that I would just took a variable, let's say that is a. Okay, so a is equal to, and here I will be just writing np dot a range. Okay, a range is a function which we have in numpy library. So this is the reason why I have imported my numpy library above. Okay, when I have just imported my matplotlib as well as numpy. Correct. So a is equal to np dot a range. Now in the bracket I am just adding the length. Okay, just let me show you that thing. Okay, and inside the length variable I will be writing here as classes. That is my variable name. Okay, because I want to find out the length for this classes variable, right? So that I have just entered it here. Correct. Come down, and now basically what I'll be just doing is that I'll be just giving a particular width for all the bars that would be coming. Let's say I would be just giving a, let's say 0.34. Let's say this is the width of the bars which I just want to be plotted here. Fine. Now that's totally depends on you here also, that what value you want to give, right? You can just change some values, try on some more values here. Okay. Come again down. Now basically here I'll be giving fig. Okay. So here I will just write fig comma ax. Now these are the two variables which I have just made, and in that basically I will be saving plt dot sub plots. Okay, subplots. Right, so this is basically referring that I am just like making the plot using my PLT library. And for that I have taken two variables, that is fig and that is ax, right? Come on to next line. Now here I will be making one another variable, that is, let's say a1. Okay, now in that basically what I will be doing is that in that firstly I would just write ax dot bar. Now here I'm just declaring that I want a bar plot. Okay, so in that case I'm just writing ax dot bar. Okay, now I'll put a bracket, and here I would just write a minus width by 2. Okay, so in A basically I have written the classes, right? So in A I have taken the length of the classes, and that I am just like subtracting it from the width and dividing it by 2, right? Okay, so that I'm just doing this thing so that everything comes on the equal space. Okay, that I have done. I would put a comma, and firstly I would just use my girls variable that I have made above. Okay, I have stored some number of girls that are in the respective classes, so I'm just using that variable here. Put a comma. After that I would just use the width, that this is the width that I just want on the bars to appear. Okay, after that what label should come onto the x-axis? Okay, what label should come? So label should come here as girls. Okay, label means that whenever we just plot x and y axis, so in that basically what should be written. Okay, same thing I would just do for my boys variable also. So a2 is equal to, again I would just write ax dot bar, and now in the bracket I would again write a minus width by 2. I would just put again a comma, and here I would be just using my variable, that is boys. Okay, boys is the variable in which I have stored the value that this much number of boys are basically we are having in this particular class, right? So that I have done here. After that I would just use here my width variable. So that means that what should the width of the bars which will be plotting, and here I would just using my label. Okay, my label is equal to, and here I would just want to add my label here as boys, right? So these are the some few things which I have mentioned here. Now basically what to add on to y label, what to add on to x label, all those things now come here. Okay, so here I would just adding ax dot, and here I would be adding set underscore y label. Okay, so ax, okay, just let me quickly correct the spelling, that is set. So ax dot set underscore y label, and in the bracket, let's say the label which I just want to come here as students. Fine. So this is the, let's say, the y label which I want here to be coming. Fine. So I just wrote that thing. After that, what should be the title? Okay. Now ax dot set underscore title. Now all the things which I am telling you right now from this particular line, okay, these things which I'm just telling you, these are all exceptional. If you just want to add on these things, you can add. If you just do not want to add, then do not add. Okay, there is no any compulsion that you need to add these things, and if you're just not adding, then the program will not run or things like that. Okay, so I just want to give some title to my bar plot which I am making. So let's say I would just give my title as girls and boys in a class. Okay, girls and boys in a class. Let's say this is the title which I have given to my bar plot. Come on to next line, and here basically I would just write ax dot set underscore xticks, ticks. Okay, xticks, and in the bracket I would be just writing the variable as a. In that basically a variable I have stored the length of the classes. Fine. So ax dot set underscore xticks. After that, basically I would just write here ax dot, and here basically I would write set underscore xtick labels. Okay, ax dot set underscore xtick labels. Now what I just want to add on to here, so here I just want to add on the classes. Okay, classes, the variable which we had made above, right? So that is being added here. After that, I would just use ax dot legend. This is another function which we have here. So basically, after writing ax dot legend, I just left with one more line which is here, fig dot, and that would be height underscore layout. Okay, that would be layout. If you just want to add on to this thing, you can just add, otherwise just leave it. Okay, there's no issues with that. And simply at last, I would simply write here plt dot show. Right, so here I have just completed my whole code, and I would just like to run it here for a while. Okay, so it is basically not giving me the blue color for rest of the things. Let me just quickly go above and check out what are the issues here. So on A1 I have written ax dot bar a minus width and A2. Okay, here instead of that minus it would be plus, because I want that blue bar to come besides the orange one, right? Because it is a group bar chart. Fine. I want that thing to come not onto above is this thing, but besides this orange plot, the blue should come, right? So instead of that minus sign, I would just make it here as plus. And now I would just again run my program here for a while. And now you can just even have the look that basically my bar plot has been made here. That is my stacked bar plot. Now, what are the things that I can just add on to here? So, see, here basically C7, C8, C9, C10 and C11. These are the things which are coming here, right? So, these are the classes which we have entered. After that, I was just able to see the students, right? So, I have on the y-axis, I have mentioned that it should show us the students. So, that is coming here. And now just have to look over this blue small chart that is coming here for girls and boys. So here for girls on blue we have another like blue bar, and for the boys we have orange bar. So on each and every bar, each and every group for the classes, the blue bar represents the girls and the orange bar represents the boys. Right, so these are the things. This is a bar plot which you can make. Let me just quickly revise out the program once again. So here I have just imported my libraries, that is matplotlib.pyplot, and given it a short form as plt. After that, I have just imported my numpy library and given it a short form as np. After that, I had made the classes, right? So my classes are basically C7, C8, C9, C10, C11. Now, instead of this, you can just make any variable, and basically you can just add on any values here, whatever you just wish. Okay, after that, I have taken my two variables that are girls and boys and entered some values here of some random values. I haven't just made any particular data or something like that. I have just entered some random values. Right, after that, I have just taken out a length for my classes so as to make the number of like what number of bars actually I want to make. So that thing I have just done here. Right, after that, I have even given the width for my plot, for my bars, that what should be the width of the bars that would be appearing, right? You can even change this on your wish. After that, I have simply taken the two variables fig and ax and simply wrote it plt.subplots here. That basically referring that in this plt, that is my plotly library, I have some subplots. Okay, for that I have just making the two variables here. After that, simply I have made a1 and a2 as my two variables and given the labels to them and basically refer the variables that what are here. Then I have just given a particular label to the students that basically on the y label what should come. Same as this, you can just give on to x also what if you just want to. Okay. After that, I have just given the title for this. So here title is being shown, that is girls and boys in a class. Okay. Have a look. After that, simply I had just like set the x label, and basically I have just given that on x label what I just want to be printed. So I just want classes to be printed. So because of that, here C7, C8, C9, C10, C11 are being printed. Right, and simply I just wrote ax.legend and fig.layout, and simply I just closed my program that is using plt.show. And here I just got my bar plot. Now basically if you just want to write out some numbers above this, like let's say this blue bar plot is appearing and above that you just want to write out the number, let's say some number. So for that we'll be discussing all these things in the next video, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically now today I'm just going to tell you that with the help of the matplotlib library, how you can make the stack plots. Right, so I'm just going to tell you that how you can just make the stack plots with the help of the matplotlib library, and how you can just make the data set, and according to that data set, how you can just plot the stack plot. So let me just quickly write down the text here so that you can even have the better overview that actually what is the thing that I'm just going to tell you today. Right. So just remove this thing here, and I will just write that the topic which we're just gonna discuss today is stack plots. Okay, now we all know that what are stacks, right? One like some things are kept on each other, on above on each other, that is actually called a stack, right? So stack plots also are like that. Let's say we had plotted something, so the different lines come with the different colors, and they all just come one over the above, and the area is filled with some color. Actually this is what the stack plots are which are made in the matplotlib library. I would just take an example here and show you the same thing, right? That what actually stack plots are and how to make them, even how they actually look like, right? So for that, firstly what I would just do is that I would not take a particular data set, so that I can just give you a fine overview that if you get any of the data set, then how you can just make the stack plots, right? If I'm just going to stick onto one data set, then you'll not be able to get that thing. So here I just take some random values and plot the stack plots according to that, right? So basically first thing that I would be doing here is that I would be importing my NumPy library, because I just mentioned that I will be making my own data set. So for that I just need to import my NumPy library. So I've just imported my NumPy library and given this NumPy library as a short form, and that is NP, right? Now next thing that I'm just going to do here is that I would just write import matplotlib dot, okay, here this dot, and I would just write here pyplot, okay, as plt. So here this matplotlib.pyplot library which we have here, I'm just importing that and just keeping it a short form, that is let's say PLT, right? And I would just run it here. So now this thing is absolutely fine that both of the libraries are imported, whichever I will be using in making the stack plots, right? Now moving towards the next forward direction here, I would just come downside here. Now here actually I would just take one variable in which I will store some data, right? Let's say my variable is, let's say CGPA. Okay, I'm just taking some random things here. Do not consider it as a real data or something like that. I'm simply taking some random values. Let's say the CGPA is one of the variables that I have. And into this, let's say I just put some CGPAs. Let's say 7, 8. Okay, I would just start from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we all know that these are the CGPA values, right? Now, basically in between this 6.5 also comes, and many other things also come. So that will automatically be taken and considered in the stack plot. Okay, now if you just want something in between, if you just want 6 and in between 6 to 7, you just want 6.5 also to be displayed. So that 6.5 will also be taken automatically by the stack plot. We need not to write that thing especially here. Okay, right. Now after making this, I would just make another variable, and let's say that variable is students. Okay, now students is equal to, I would just put the curly brackets here. Now let's say I'm just plotting this as year wise, that let's say in 2016 how many students got 6 CGPA, how many 7, how many 8, how many 9, how many 10. Okay, this is basically what I'm just trying to plot out here. Again, I am repeating it very clearly that this is not any real data. I'm just taking a random data to show you that how actually you can make a stack plot. Okay, right. I just wrote the name of the year, and let's say here I just make a list, and let's say I just wrote let's say 54, let's say 43, 78, let's say 59, let's say 65. Okay, these are some random values which I had taken here, right, that I had just entered. Now I am taking here 5 CGPAs, that is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So according to that only I just need to give the values here. So that's the reason that I am giving 5 values here. If you're just taking 6 here, then you need to take 6. Okay, there should be a balance between the things that you are taking. If you're taking 5 data points in another place, so in that next place also you'll be taking the 5 data points only, right? This is the whole concept which actually follows here. So I would again put a comma and come on to the next line. Here I would just add, let's say 2017, right? I would just put the colon. Let's say again I would add some values, let's say 98, let's say 67, let me add this 84, and let's say it's 63, and let's say it's 56. Right, I would just again come on to the next line, and I would just add here 2018, right? I would just again put the colon and again add some values. Let's say 100, 150. Let's go on to some higher values as well. Let's not take only some smaller values. Let's say 65. Okay, and let's say even 90. Right, I would just again put a comma. I would take here as 2019 because here I had taken 5 1. Okay, again I would just give some values. Let's say here I would just give, let's say 200, and then I would take 190, let's say 260, let's say 184, and let's say here I take as 240. Right, and come on to the next line, and at the last I would just take here as 2020. Right, I would just put again the like colon here and add some values. Let's say I would add some less values. Okay, let's say 34, let's say 76, let's say 65, and I would just add 97, and let's say 67. Right, these are the values which I have added here. I would again put a comma. Let's say this is okay, let's not put that comma. Right, so it has been closed here. Right, so this is the data which I had made here. Now I would just come on to the next line again here back. Right, now I would just take here 2 parameters, fig comma ax, right, fig comma ax, and that is equal to plt dot, and I would just write here subplots, right? So what are the plots I'm just having here that I have stored in the variables that are fig and ax, right? Now what is the use of this, that you will just get to know in a little while. So okay, let's just come on to the next line. I would just use here ax dot, and now here I would just use the name of the plot that I am planning to plot here, and that is a stack plot, right? So here I just wrote ax dot is stack plot, right? I would put the brackets. Now I would just write the first variable which I had taken, that is CGPA. So here it comes CGPA, right? Now my second variable is students. I will just write here is students dot values. Right, now from this actually I just want values. So here I have just declared the dictionary, right? You remember dictionaries? So this is the key and this is the value, right? This is how actually we declare the key, and this is how actually we declare the values, right? So these are my all these 2016, 2017, then 18, 19, 20. These are all the keys, and the numbers which I have stored here inside the list, these all are my values, right? So I am extracting all the values. Here is students dot values, right? After bracket I will just put one comma, and I will just write here labels. Now on the x axis we just get some labels, right? That what to add here, what not to add here. So in that case basically I'm just gonna take here the keys, right? So comma labels, and I will just put out the is equal to sign. I will just write here students dot, and I will just use here the keys, right, and in the brackets. Fine, this is done. Now what next I just need to do is that I need to give a title, I need to give that what to plot on the x-axis, I need to give what to plot on the y-axis, right? These all are the things that I need to give here. So basically I would just write here ax dot legend. Okay, now in this legend basically I would just write log is equal to, and basically from like which position to plot, so I would just write here as upper left. Okay, upper left I would just add on here. Come on to the next line. Here I would just write ax dot set underscore title. Now what title to basically like write here, to set here as a title which should be displayed. So basically we are just plotting the like stack plot for the CGPA and the students, right? So I would just write here number. Okay, I will just write here that CGPA students is scored. CGPA students are scored according to the years. Like this is the title which I just want to give here, that CGPA students is scored, and here it's correct out the spellings according to the years. Right. Now basically what do I want on the X label and what do I want on the Y label? Okay. So I would just add here that let's say AX dot set underscore X label, right? And into the brackets, I will just write here that on X label, I just want the CGPAs to be displayed, right? So in that case, I would just write add on here as CGPA. Coming to the next line, I would just add AX dot, that is set underscore. And what about the Y label? So what do I just need to add on to the Y label? So on the Y one, I just need to add, let's see, number, okay, I will just write here of, number of students, right? This is the thing which I just want to add on the y-axis, and at last I would simply write plt dot show, and then I would just put out these brackets. So that will basically help me to see my result. I would just run it. Okay, so this is basically what a stack plot looks like. Now just have a look now, even try to understand this thing which I just plotted here, right? So see, here I am just getting that number of students, right? So I just wanted the number of students on the y-axis. So in that case, I just put on the y label as number of students. The same thing I had done with the x-axis. I want the CGPA to be displayed on the x-axis. So in that case, I have just entered it. Now in the starting, I was saying that it will come between, like, let's say 6 is written and then 7 is written. So between 6.5 will automatically come. So here you have seen that 6.5, then 7.5, 8.5, and even 9.5 have also come, right? So this is one about stack plot. Other than that, you are able to see a chart here, right? On the upper right corner, on the upper left corner, you are able to see a chart here. That is, in this it is written 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20, and basically it is denoted that which color is referring to which year. And in the between, you are able to see the stacks, which I was just talking about, that some one thing is kept on the other thing, other on the third thing, and something like this. Okay, piles of things. That is actually the stacks, right? And even I'm just getting here my title, that is CGPA students scored according to the years, right? So I hope you had got a fair idea that basically how you can just plot a stack plot, right? So let me quickly revise up the things that I have done here. Firstly, I have imported my two of the libraries, that were NumPy and matplotlib. If you are taking any particular data set, then you need not to import NumPy. In that case, whatever library you are just reading the data, just import that library. Okay, and NumPy I have imported because I want to make my own data set. In that case, I have simply imported, right? After that, basically, I had taken this CGPA, right? So in the CGPA, I am having some values which I just entered. According to that, only I just entered some values in the students as well, right? Then I had taken two variables in which I have written plt.subplots. That means that basically whatever the subplots are here, they have come onto this variables. After that, I had written ax.stackplot. Stackplots means that I'm just going to plot this plot. After that, I had taken the variables, and from the students I have taken the values, and in the labels I have taken the keys. Okay, and after that, simply I had taken the legend and basically what title I want, what to represent on the x-axis, what to represent on the y-axis, and simply at the last I wrote plt.show. So according to that, I'm just getting my stack plot here, right? So I hope you had got a fair and clear idea that how you can just make a stack plot. Now you can just go and try this on a particular data set. Great. So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically now today in the matplotlib library, what we are going to see is actually assume it as a parameter. Okay, actually it is a parameter which we are going to see, and that is using span underscore view. Right, this is a type of parameter which we have, and it actually basically acts upon the different types of graphs and different types of plots actually that we make. Right, so we are just going to see that particular parameter today. So first of all, let me just quickly zoom in a little bit so that it is clearly and properly visible to you right here. And now before moving into the code and all that things, let me quickly specify. Okay, just 1 second. Let me just quickly remove this. Let me just quickly specify the name of that particular graph that we are gonna make, so that you're actually clear with that, right? So here basically I'd be adding using that is span underscore WHE this. So here goes the name for the plot that we are going to, it's not actually a plot, it's a function of a plot, right? So we are just going to see this function today, that how we can just use this function in our plots which we are just making, and make the plots look more like nicer and all those things. Right, so here basically let's get started with the things. And whenever I just talk about making up the plots in any of the libraries, not in even in matplotlib itself, in any of the libraries, if I just talk about making the plots, so the very first thing that we just follow is that we import the libraries whatever we will be needing in this whole plot, like so I'll be taking the matplotlib library, and even I'll be importing my numpy library as well, because I am going to use my numpy library for taking some random data and using this span underscore where function onto that particular data. Right, so this is the whole idea about the plot that we are going to make. So my very first step is that I'll be importing the numpy library. So import numpy as np. So numpy is the name of the library that we are actually importing, and np is a short form to this library that I have given here. Right. Now next thing comes that I need to import my matplotlib.pyplot library, with the help of which library I'm just gonna make the plot today. Right. So that is matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Right. So this is the library, another one which we have imported, that is matplotlib.pyplot, and given the short form as plt. Right. Now, even with the help of that matplotlib library, I just need to import some more, one more library here, that is matplotlib dot, that is collections. Okay, matplotlib dot collections as, and I would just give it a short form as collections only. Okay, this is the library which I just needed to import here, that is matplotlib dot collections, and I just have given it a short form as collections only. Right, so basically the function that we have, which is span underscore where, that actually lies inside this collections, and we just use this collections in making up the plot. Okay, fine, and I will just run my program here. Right, now it comes about declaring my data and making my plot. So let's get onto that thing. So I will just take a variable that is, let's say, a. Okay, a is one of the variables that I have taken, and I would just add on that np.arange here. Okay, np.arange, and into the bracket I would just give on some values here. Let's say 0, 2. Okay, just as soon as I just wrote arange, just have a look here that it told me that the first is the start parameter, in between we have a stop, and after that we have a step. So these are the three parameters which we need to follow, right? And my step parameter is, let's say, 0.01. Okay, right. Now I would take another variable that is a1. Okay, and I would just plot the graph for the sine, right? We all just know sine, cos, all those things which we have in mathematics, right? So I would just like to plot the graph for sine here. So for that, I simply use the function that is sin, that is my sine function. Okay, and into the bracket, I would just write 2 multiplication. I would write 2 multiplication np dot pi. Okay, just 1 second. Yes. So 2 multiplication np, I would just put on the value instead of this dot. Okay, dot pi, and multiplied by a. Okay, this a basically which we have taken here, right? So this is the formula which we basically apply for plotting up the sine plot in this plot. Okay. Next, I have a2 as well. So a2 would be, let's say, 1.2 multiplied by n. Okay, just 1.2 multiplied by np dot sine. Np dot sine is basically my function that I am using, right? And into the bracket, I would put as 4 multiplication. Yeah, actually, this is basically for the sine. It is actually given what you should do and what you should not do, right? So, okay, that is 4 multiplied, and I would just write np dot pi multiplied by t. Now, this np dot pi is the value for pi which we actually have, okay? That pi which we actually have in mathematics, that not 3.14, not that one which we have in the graphs and all those things, right? This is that one, okay? That is basically 180. Fine, so that is done here. Only this much is the like things which I just need to apply here for plotting up the sine graph. And now I would just plotting fig comma ax. These are my two parameters which I would be taking here, fig comma ax, my variables, okay? And into this I'll be writing plt dot, and that would be plt dot subplot, right? And then here the bracket. So plt dot subplot and the bracket, and my variables in which I have stored is fig comma ax, right? Come on to the next line. And now basically here I'd be using ax dot set underscore title. Okay, I would just not set in the title, I just don't want to do that thing. Fine. I would simply plot out the plot. So ax dot plot, okay? And into the bracket I would pass on the parameters, sorry, variable names from which I want to plot out the plot. So that is a comma a1, right? Now what color I just want of the the lines that will appear here, okay? The plot that will appear here, what colors actually I just want onto that. So okay, let's say I just want the color as red here, okay? Now basically I would be doing another thing, that is ax dot, and that is axh line, okay? Ax dot axh line, and into the bracket I would be even writing the color for this one as well. So color is equal to, and let's say that is again the same, which is red, okay? And now I just want to give the line width as well, that what should be the width of the line that will be plotted here. So let's say I just give it as 3 here, okay? 3, fine. Now here basically after this I'll be plotting up my graph with the help of the use span underscore via function, right? So let's say I've taken a variable that is b1. Now here I'll be using that collections, okay, which we have just given the short form to the library, that was matplotlib.collections. Here I'll be using that collections, okay? So collections dot, and this actually just comes into the broken barrage collection. Okay, this like the span underscore where function that we are going to write today, that basically comes under this broken barrage collection, right? So that in that case I have just written that. So I will put a dot, and here I'll be using my function that is span underscore where, okay? So that is span underscore where, and into the bracket I'll be passing up the parameter in which I have set out the values, which is a, and after that I'll be giving some y minimum and maximum values. So y min value is, let's say, 0, okay, and y max value is, let's say, 1, right? So y minimum value is 0, y maximum value is 1, let's say. After that I have we have even one parameter, that is where is equal to, and that is a1 is greater than 0, okay? And I would just put one comma again here, and I would be writing the color, that in like what color I just want this span underscore where to come on the conditions which I have applied here. So in that case I'll be using the parameter which, okay, that is face color, actually that is face color, okay? This is a parameter that I'll be using. Face color, let's say I just want here to be blue, okay, right? And here what should be the value for the, I just want to put the value for the alpha as well. So let's say that is 0.5, okay? That is, let's say, 0.5, right? So these are the things that I have written here. Now same procedure I'll be doing for b2 as well. So that is b2 is equal to, here, and I'll be using that collections dot, and it would be broken barrage collection dot span underscore where in the bracket I will be passing here, let's say, a, after that a comma value for the y minimum. Okay, let me show you that thing, because here. So value for the y minimum, that is basically equal to, let's say, -1. Y minimum, now it is basically going under the line. Okay, that is why I'm just giving here minus. When I just given 0 and 1, that was above my line, okay? Just assume it as x and y axis only, right? Just treat it in that way itself. Then you'll be getting the the ideas more clear, okay? And for the y max, I have the value as 0, right? I would put one comma. Fine. So after this comma, I would again add that function, that is where is equal to, and I will just put that a1 is less than 0. As weight is going downside, so in that case I have written a1 is less than 0, and the minimum value I have written here as -1. Right, so because of that I just put the sign here, that is that was a1 is less than -1. Right, after that comes the face color, that which face color, actually which color I just want it to be appearing on this particular background. So I would just like, let's say I just want to write here as orange. Okay. After that, I would be even giving the alpha value as well. So alpha, let's say, is 0.5, and I would just come on to the next line. And here I'd be adding ax dot add underscore collection, ax dot add underscore collection, and in the bracket I would be adding here as b2, right? And at last I would just simply write plt dot show. That will basically helping me to show my plot, right? Okay, it is saying me that t is not defined. Okay, instead of t I just need to write here as a, because a is the variable which I have taken. Let's run it once again and let's see right here. So basically I had just got my, okay, so here, okay, blue color is not coming. Let me just check that why it's not coming. But before that, let's see here. Okay, just 1 second. I need to add on this line after this one. Just give me 1 second. That is B2 will come this side. And I need to add ax dot add underscore collection. Oh, that is collection. And in bracket, I will be writing here as B1. Okay. Now it will basically come. Right. So here is the plot which is basically coming here for me for the sign plot. Right. Now you're able to see that on the above variable, my value for a is basically y minimum value is 0 and maximum is 1. At that case my blue color is coming as a background, right? And wherever this a value is -1, sorry, y minimum is -1 and y maximum is 0, at that case basically my colors are coming as orange, right? So this is basically how this span underscore where function is used. Now you can just use the span underscore function on any type of plot, basically whichever you are just like willing to make and all those things. But here right now I've just showed you this thing for a sine graph, right? So as soon as I, okay, another thing that in this color I have given the color as red, right? So because of that red color, it is basically coming into the red lines. If I just given some other color, let's say black, blue, orange or green, any other color, so it would have come on into that color, okay, whatever I have just given, right? So I hope I made this thing very clear to you that how you can just use this span underscore where parameter and make your graphs look more explainable and more nicer to look, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically, now today we are going to make the histogram functions different hist type settings. Now basically, we all know that how to make a histogram in the matplotlib, right? That is very super easy. We just know that how to do that. Now basically in that histogram as well, we have different functions and different hist type settings that helps us to make different kinds of histograms. Right now today basically we are going to see that different types of settings, and that basically how we can just make out different settings and how we can just apply different functions, how we can just apply different histograms, and all those things we are gonna see today. And that all we are gonna see today with the help of the matplotlib library, and as well as we'll be using the numpy library because I'll be just taking some random values, okay, right here. So let's get started with the things for now. So the very first thing that I am gonna do here is that I'm just gonna import numpy as in. Okay, so here basically what I'm just doing is that, let me just firstly, let's see, can I just like zoom in a little bit. Now that is so, like more clear than the previous one, right? So as I mentioned that we'll be using out the next thing as we'll be basically using out the different okay, just 1 second, let me just zoom out a little bit. Fine here. So I just mentioned that we'll be using the numpy library and as well as the matplot library. Okay, so the very first thing that I have done is that I have imported out my numpy library. Okay, now basically the time is for importing out my matplotlib library. So import matplotlib.pyplot as plt right here. Okay, so basically I'm just trying to import out my matplotlib.pyplot library as plt. So for my numpy library, what I have just given is that I have given the short form as np, right? You just know that thing, right? And basically for my matplotlib library, matplotlib.pyplot library, I have given out the short form as the plt, right? That is absolutely fine. Now I would just try to run this once, and basically now let's move towards giving out some values, giving out the size and all those things. Let's move on towards that thing, right? Let's say I just take a variable a and I assign the value as 250. Okay, let's say I just take another variable that is b and I assign the value as 30. Right now basically what I would just do is that I would take a variable, let's say that is x. Okay, and into that I'm just applying out that like numpy function, and with that numpy I'm just applying that random function, right? So A and B are the basically ranges that I just want some values, some like random values between this particular range. Okay, right here. So X is equal to, I would just write here np dot random dot normal. Okay, np dot random dot normal, and in the bracket I'm just writing a comma b comma, okay, just 1 second, right here. So a comma b comma, and now here I'll be just applying as well, that is size is equal to, now size basically means that how many random values I just want between this particular range. In that case, let's say I want 200 random values in this particular range, so that I have just given here, right? Okay, that thing is absolutely done. Now basically I would just take another variable, let's say I would just take some another data, let's say c is equal to, okay, and in this also I would just give out some random values, let's say I would just give here, let's say 220, and let's say I would just take a d, and here I would just give here some value as 15. Okay, and that also I would just take here, and x is done. So now I would just take a variable, that is y, and in that as well I would just import out the random module. So I would just do out the np dot random dot normal, and into the bracket I would just put on the ranges, that is c comma d comma. Now what about the size, that what size should I want? So size would absolutely remain same, that is my 200 only, that I have taken the upper size. Let me just do this like this. Now it's basically differentiating a little bit, that I have taken some different variables here, and onto that I've just stored out some values. So that values are not some values, that are actually some range, that I just want some random numbers between this range, between that particular range, and all those things it is actually. Right. Now I would just write here fig, and I would just take as x's as well. Fig and ax's. That in that I would just store the subplots, and I would just give that how many rows and how many columns I want. As I told you that today we are going to see the different hist type settings, different histogram functions. We are just going to see different types of histograms. So in that case, we basically are going to see the 4 types of them today, right? So in that case, I'm just giving 2 rows and 2 columns. So I just want to differentiate that 1, 2, 3, 4. As you know, a matrix of 2 cross 2, right? That how this matrix of a 2 cross 2 is written. So in that, like that particular way only, I just want to arrange all of those 4 graphs which I would be having. So in that case, I'm just writing number of rows and number of columns as well. Okay, so in that case, I'll just write that thing inside this fig comma x's only, right? So I've just used out my PLT, that is actually referring to my matplotlib.pyplot library, right? So PLT dot, and I would just write here subplots, PLT dot subplots, like this. Okay, and into the bracket I would just write that how many rows and how many columns actually now I want. Let me show you. So here I will just write n rows. So as I mentioned that I want the things to appear in a 2 cross 2 matrix, that is in that I just want the 2 rows and 2 columns, and I just want all of my charts to appear in that particular range only, in that particular form only. So in that case I will just giving the rows same and my column value as well as same. So n rows, and it would be n columns. Okay, n columns, and that is basically equal to 2. So this is how I would be just giving out my values for the rows and value for the columns. Got that? And columns will be giving as COLS only. So 4 columns is actually not written right here. Okay, the parameter which we have here, that is n col. So that is basically referring to the columns only. Right now, basically what I would just do is that I would take that x is variable which I have stored above, and now I would be just telling that at 0, 0 what I want, at 0, 1 what I just want, at 1, 1 what I want, at 1, 0 what I just want, what type of plot actually, or what function of that histogram plot actually I just want on this particular x's, okay, at this particular indexes. So that thing I would be just declaring here. Bracket I would just write here 0, 0. So now I'm just writing for that 0, 0, that at 0, 0 particular index, that what type of plot actually I want. Okay, so in that case I would just write here hist. Okay, that is basically referring to my histogram. So hist, and into the bracket I would just pass on the parameter, that is x first of all. Okay, now x is basically having my random values for my a and b parameters. That a and b are my ranges, that in between this parameters I just want the values, right? Okay, now x I have just written. Other than that, I have just written here, let's say 20. That is basically, you can just call them basically 20. Other than that, I would just write here about the density. Density is another parameter that we have here, so that is actually true. I just wanted to make it as true. Okay, comma. Now here comes the main important thing for this particular plot which we are trying to plot here, and that is hist type. What type of hist type you just want to here? Okay, so in that case, let's say I just want the step fill type of hist plot for the very first. Okay, comma. And here I would just apply that face color. What type of face color you actually want? So face color is equal to, now let's say here I would just write as R. Okay, now this is done. I would just put one more comma here, and that will I would just write out the parameter, that is alpha. So I would just give some alpha value, that is let's say 1.76. Okay, that is done. So this is actually here how I just gave out. And other than that, I would be just writing axis, and in the bracket I would just pass in 0, 0. I would put a dot here, and now what title I just want to set for the 0, 0 axis 0, 0 plot which I am just making. So that plot is actually the step filled plot, right? So I would just write axis 0, 0 dot set underscore title. Okay, I just want to add a title here, so that is title, and into the bracket I just want to write here as step filled type. Let's say this one is the thing which I just want to add on here. So I just wrote that inside the title. Right, this is actually done. Now basically what I would just doing is that I would be just taking the now 0, 1. So 0, 0 is done. Now I would just write here axis. Now in the bracket it is 0, 1. Right. Now 0, 1 dot. I would just again write hist. Okay, and in the bracket now my x parameter will again be passed. So x comma, and here I will be just passing out the first of all the value which I have written above, that is 20. Now other than this I am just passing out my density first of all. So my density is equal to now true. Okay, density is equal to 2. Now basically another comes my hist type. Now what type of histogram actually I just want to plot out here? Right, what type of histogram I just want to write here? So now that would be my step 1. Now step is another type of plot and a type of function which we have in this histogram. So I've just written that step. Okay. Other than that, basically I just want to add some face color. Okay, so let's say face color okay, face, and that is color is equal to, let's say, G. That's my green. Okay, and that is done actually. Comma, what about my alpha values? I would just give the same as I have given for the above one. So let's say alpha is equal to, let's say that is 0.76, same value which I have just given above. Okay, and now I would just write axis into the bracket. I would just writing 0, 1. That is my 0, 1 index for which I'm just making out this plot. And I just want to like give it a particular title to this, right? This axis 0, 1 dot set underscore title, and into the bracket I just want to write here as step, right? That is actually done. So 0, 0 and 0, 1 are done. Now basically we are left with 2, that is basically 0, 0 and 1, 1. Right? So okay. Okay, sorry. We are left with 1, 0 and 1, 1. Right. Fine. So let me just write out the x's for now. 1, 0. Okay. Now in that basically I would just put a dot, and that is basically my hist. Now firstly I would just use x comma, and I would just give the density as, let's say, true. Okay. After that I would be having my parameter, that is my hist type, that what type of hist you want. So in that case I would be having my hist type, and that is basically my bar is tagged. Bar is tagged. So that is BARSTACKET, right? Okay, bar is tagged. And after that, what should be the width of that? So let's say the width should be 0.9. Okay, let's say the width should be 0.9. So this I have just like plotted here, and another function, another type of hist plot we have, bar is tagged, right? Now in the next case, basically I would just write here x's, and into the bracket I would just write here 1, 0. I would put a dot, and I would just write here hist. Okay, now basically what I would just do is that I would just copy the whole above line here till this point, and I would just paste it this place, and instead of that x I would just make that as another parameter which we have taken above, right? Our parameter which we have taken above was, let me check that out, that was y, right? So instead of x, here I would just add on y, right? And now basically what title do I just want to put out here? So I would just write x's, into the bracket I would just write 1, 0, okay, dot, and then I would just write set underscore title, and into the bracket I would just write, let's say that is bar is tagged. Okay, that is done. Now basically I'm just left with the very last thing, and that is basically my x's, and that is basically for my 1 comma 1, right? So x's. But before that, what I would just do, if I just want to create some bins, if I just want to create some bins for my for some histogram function, so how will I do that? That thing also I would just include it here. Okay, so bins is equal to, and now basically here I would just put in some values. Let's say it is 100 comma 130, let's say 160, let's say 190, then let's say I have 200. Okay, I have, let's say, 220. Okay, so basically it depends on total number of things, whatever you just want. So let's say I have just given 220, then let's say 250, then let's say I have 280, then I want 310. Okay, how many I have given? Okay, 8 are done right here. Okay, now I just plot out my 1 comma 1. X is 1 comma 1 here, dot. I will just put one dot here, then the hist goes, and after that in the bracket, okay, that is like this, and into the bracket it's x, comma, after that I would write the variable, that is my bins, comma, I would just put out the density here. Density is equal to, and let's say that density here is equal to true. Okay, I would just put one comma, and after that I would just write the hist type that I want. So that is hist type, right? And for me, let's say that is my bar. Okay, this is another hist type which we have bar. I will just put one comma, and after that it goes my r width. So above what r width actually I have given, let me just see that is 0.9. I will just give the same here as well, 0.9. Okay, come on to the next line, and now I will just try to set out the title. So x is 1 comma 1 and dot set underscore title. Into the bracket I would just write that bar, and that will be basically for the unequal bins. So let's say unequal bins. Okay, so this one is for the unequal bins. Let me just give out some unequal things here. So let's say it is 120. Let's say this is basically 200. Here, let's say I have 230. And let's say here I have 290. Okay, one more thing to mention here, that here I was just writing 20 above every case, right? Here this 20, this 20. So that is basically referring to my equal bins. Okay, equal bins means that basically whatever the difference between the things you are giving, it is basically referring to that. But here I have just mentioned my some unequal things, so I'm just writing that unequal bins here. Okay, so I'm just over with my thing, and just last thing that I just said here is that fig dot, and that is fig dot tight underscore layout. Okay, and the brackets like this, and at last I would just write here plt dot show, and then the brackets like this, right? Now I would just try to run out this thing once again here, right here. So basically you are able to see that here I just got some plots appearing. Okay, so the first one which we had made was a step fill, right? So that I'm just coming here is step fill type, then was step, then was bar start, and then was bar unequal bits. So step was given at 0, 0 step fill, so it is coming at 0, 0. Okay, at 0, 1 we have given the his type, that is step, so it is coming. Other than that, at 1, 0 I have given the bar stack. So at 1, 0 bar stack is coming. And basically at the 1, 1 I have given the bar. So at this case basically bar unequal bins is coming. Right, so this is actually how it is coming. Now just again have a look for one more thing here, that for the bins for all of these three, that is step fill type, step, and the bar stacked are different, but for the bar unequal bins it is different, right? For of these three same, also for basically step fill type, step, and bar stacked it is same, right? But for this bar comma unequal bins it is like not same. Why it is so? Because here basically in this case I have given my choice of bins whatever I just want, and here basically automatically the bins were taken, so in that case they are equal, and in this case basically I'm just getting some different ones, right? And now colors, that is red and green, and basically all of these colors are actually appearing whatever you have just written out there, right? Now basically I hope that you have got a clear idea that if you just want to make the plots, different types of histogram, basically we have different histogram functions and histotype settings. So if you just want to apply some histotype settings, so how you can just do that thing, right? So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. So let's meet in the next video. Till then, thank you and take care. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically now from today we are going to learn one new library, and that library is basically the matplotlib library. Okay, so you all have basically heard the name, right? So previously in the 10 episodes basically for the data analysis, what we had seen about the Seaborn library, And we have almost covered all the plots which are basically in the Seaborn library. Right now, basically now it's the turn for doing the coding and like for seeing the how to make the plots on the matplotlib library. Fine, so from today we are just gonna make some plots from the matplotlib library. Now, so the very first plot that we are going to make today is the bar plot. Right, in bar plot now basically we have one function and that is bar underscore label. You can just call it as function or you can just like call it as a parameter. Fine, bar underscore label. So now that parameter is basically used for making the like giving some number into the bars and like giving some different colors and all that things. Right, so from today basically we are just gonna learn that thing. So firstly, what my first task is that the task would remain the same that we were doing previously in the Seaborn libraries. I would firstly import my matplotlib library. Fine, then I would just define my own data and then I would just make the plot. So let's get started with the things and further things I would just let you know in the video itself. Right. Firstly, I'm just writing here import and my first library is matplotlib. Okay, so for import matplotlib. Right, so basically this means that I am importing my matplotlib library in this particular file. Right, come to the next line. Now here basically I have one more thing here that is, I would just write here that thing and let you know. So import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. Okay, this matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. Now, basically, why we just give import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT? Because let's say you just want to give a particular size to the figure. Okay, let's say you just want the figure that like the bar plot which is gonna come here as the output. You just want it at a particular figure. Right, that this should be the size of that figure. So in that case basically that thing is done using the PLT library. Okay, and when we just use a matplotlib, so at last we just use plt.show. So that plt.show is basically used for showing that like seeing that plot which you are making. Right, so this is the whole idea behind making these things. And even what I would just do, I would import my numpy library as well, import numpy as empty because this is the library that I would be using, right, for making my data frame. Right, so now it is over here. Now let's move to the next thing. The first thing was to import the libraries, right? Now second thing that comes here is the defining of my data. Fine, so in that case, basically first I'm just going to give the value for n, right? So n value means that basically how many bars actually you want here. Right, in my case I have given n is equal to 6. Now you can just take any variable and any value. In my case I have just took the variable that is n. Now actually the variables actually depend on your choice, that whatever you just want you can just take that variable. Okay, now here I'm just going to make one more variable and let's say I will just give it as a underscore mean. Okay, so a underscore mean is the name of the variable I'm just making right now, and in the bracket now I'm just going to pass some values. Okay, now I will be passing 6 values because here I have taken my n is equal to 6. So the values that I would be passing, that would be 6. The column name that I would be passing, like I'm just giving one name to the bar, right? That also I would be passing as 6 only, right? So here I'm just giving the value, let's say 10, 15 and then 20, let's say 25 also, let's say it is 30 and even I would just take one negative value, let's say 23. Right, so these are the values which I have just taken here. Now second thing I would just do this for v underscore mean, and here also I would just define some values, let's say 25 and then I would just give as let's say 19, I have 32, then 28 and basically 17 and I have minus 21. Right, so let's say these are the values which I have just like given here. Okay, now what comes here is that I have just given the a underscore mean. Now basically I just want to make 2 more variables. Okay, why I'm just making that, you will just get that to know in a little while, but let me just make that. So a underscore std, fine. So let's say this is the a underscore standard deviation, so 2 comma let's say 5 comma 1 comma 3 comma 2. Let's say these are the values which I just passed here, right? And I would just do the same thing for the b also. So b underscore std, okay, is equal to, and here in the bracket I would just pass 3 comma 2 comma 5 comma 4 comma 3, let's say. Okay, these are the values which I just passed here. Right, so that is over here. Now what I just want the I just want to use my n is equal to 6 value. Right, that basically how will it know that basically what, how many values to plot. Okay, let me just like take the standard deviation also as 6 here. So let me just take this okay, which one is missing? This here 4 is missing and here basically 1 is missing because I need to take 6 values only, right? And I have taken 5 previously. Right, that is over. Now just come down here and basically I would just take one new variable. Let's say in my case I have taken C, right? So C is equal to, and here I would just write np dot array. Okay, so this was the case that, sorry, not array, that is a range. A range, okay, np dot a range, and in bracket I would just pass here as 6. Right, so why I have just passed your n? Because in n is the basically variable in which I am storing the value, that is 6. Right, so in that case only I just passed your n. If you just directly want to pass 6 here, then also you can just do that. Fine, no issues with that. Right, so let me just proceed here. And basically now I have one variable, and that is width, width. Now basically here what I am doing, I am giving a particular width to my figure. Okay, so the figure that will be coming here, that would be containing a particular width. Okay, so in that case I'm just writing here width is equal to 0.35. Come down here and basically, okay, now basically what I would be just doing, I would be just passing fig is one of the parameter, comma, and here I would be giving ax. Now basically this is the place where I just use my basically plt, that is matplotlib.pyplot library. Okay, so plt dot subplots, and in that I will just put it as brackets. Fine, so I have just done till now. Here I have just taken one variable, that is fig and ax, and given the plt dot subplots. Right, now basically what I just need to do here is that I would be taking some more variables, and now I will be just giving the name of the variables for making the bar plot. Previously I have just defined my variable, okay, defined my plot, and now I will just giving the name. So now here I am just taking p1. Okay, let's say p1 is the variable which I have taken, and here I'll be using ax dot bar. Okay, now this ax is basically this one, okay, the same one. So here I have just referred plt dot subplot. So in that case I simply need to use ax. Okay, so p1 is equal to ax dot bar. In bracket I would just pass c. Now why I am passing c? Because in that basically I have stored that what is the range of the bar plot. Right, so the range of the bar plot is 6. Right, so that I'm just passing it here. Next, basically what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to pass a underscore mean, right? And then I'm just pass the width also, width. And what basically here we have one parameter, that is y double r. Okay, in that parameter I will be passing a underscore std. That is my a underscore standard deviation, right? And I would be just writing that what label actually you just want here. Okay, just 1 second. Right, what label you just want here? I want a label that is a. Right, so I just mentioned that thing. Same thing I would just do with the p2, and some more parameters will be added here. So p2 is equal to ax dot bar, and in the bracket it would be c comma b underscore mean, comma b underscore mean, comma width, and comma bottom is equal to, now basically at bottom what value I want, so I want a underscore mean. Okay, so I just write a underscore mean here. And in the y double r parameter, what I just actually want, I want b underscore std, that is b underscore standard deviation, right? And now what label actually I just want here, so my label, okay, just let me quickly close the one. Okay, so the label which I just want here is b. Right, that I have just done, I passed all the parameters and the values here. Now basically I will be writing ax dot axh line. Now this is also one of the functions which we are having here. And in that case, basically, firstly, what I would be doing here is that I would be passing some color. Okay, firstly, I've just given the value as 0. Okay, I would just passing one color. That what color of like lines actually you want. Okay, so I want to, let's say I want the color of gray. Okay, let's say color is the gray, that I just want the lines. Okay, and here I'm just using line width. That what line width actually you just want. So I would just want 0.7 as my line width. Right, let me just come down here. Fine. Fine, so I just want my length width to be 0.7. Fine. Now basically what I have ax dot set underscore y label. Okay, y label. Right, now this is one more function, and in that basically what label you just wanted to be set on your y-axis. Let's say I'm just taking any random here, okay? I'm just not defining any particular, I'm just taking final. If you just want to skip out the system, you can skip, no issues with that. Fine. Now what I will be doing here is that I will be taking ax dot set underscore title. Now basically here I will be just defining one title for my plot which I am making. Let's say in this case it is the bar plot, okay? So ax dot set underscore title. Now inside the title also you can just mention anything, and if you just want to leave it, you can just leave it. This is the exception one, okay? If you just want to add, it is okay. If you don't want to add, then this is also okay. Right, now just come down here, and here I would just use ax dot set underscore x ticks. Now basically this refers that how many plot like how many lines actually you want. Here basically we have one parameter that is ticks, right? So in that basically I am giving as C, and now let's go above and see that what I have stored in C. So in C I have stored np dot arrange, and in bracket I stored n, right? And what is the value that is in n? The value is ticks, right? So that one is, I was just saying that how many bars actually you just want here, right? Come down here. Now, basically, what should be the name for that bars, right? What should be the name for that bars? Because we haven't defined that thing till now. What we have done, we have only defined the values. Now, each bar would be having some name for it, right? So that I'm just going to give here. So ax dot bar underscore x ticks, ticks. Okay, so that is not ticks, that is tick and labels. Okay, ax dot bar underscore x tick labels. And now I would just give two brackets here, that is my tuples, and here I would just give the names. Let's say the first one is G1, let's say second one is G2, and let's say the third one is G3. Okay, let's say the fourth one is G4, and let's say the fifth one is G5, and at last we have 6, right? So now the sixth one is, let's say, G6, right? Let's say these are the name for the columns that I have given, and I again mention that totally depends on you, that what you want to give, right? So I have just given here G1, G2 up to G6. Now that totally depends on you what you want to give. If you want to leave this, leave it. No issues with that. Fine. And here I would just passing ax dot legend, and I would just put the brackets here. Right, now basically what I just want to give all of these names, that whatever I'm just giving like bar plot, all of these to come in the middle of my plot. Right, so for that I am just mentioning some code here. And again I'm just saying that if you just want to leave this part, leave it. It is not compulsory. I'm just giving I'm just applying all the parameters that we actually have, so that if you just want to remove anyone, you can just remove, and if you just want to include all of these, you can just include. Right, so I'm just telling all of these things here. So that would be ax dot bar underscore label. Okay, ax dot bar underscore label. Okay, now here basically I'll just put the brackets, and here I'll just give the value that is p1. Okay, in I just want p1 and p2, right? These are the two in which we had stored the bars, right? So p1, and now basically what label type actually I just want. So I'll just write label underscore type. Okay, now I just want everything to be in the center. Right, so I would just write here as center. I would just declare here as center. Fine, I would just do the same thing for the P2 also. So ax dot bar underscore label, in bracket I would just writing P2 comma, and here it would be label underscore type, and here I would just again be defining the center. Right, so that is done here. I have just defined P1 and P2 and given the label type as center. Now here I would be just using ax dot bar. Okay, dot underscore label, and in bracket I just use P2, and at last I mentioned that what was that PLT especially used for. So that PLT was especially used for showing us the graph, right? So in that case I am just using PLT dot show, and I will just put the brackets. Right, so here basically we are just getting our plot, and that is bar plot. Now just have a look that basically what I am getting here as final. Right, so final was the one which I have just mentioned that we will be getting that on the y-axis. So we are just getting that thing. Now bar plot is the name that I am getting here, that I have just set out the title. Right, so here I just wrote ax dot set underscore, okay, that was G1, G2 up to G6, right? This G1 up to G6. So here basically I am just getting that thing G1 up to G6. Right, so I'm just getting that thing also. So now here I'm just getting A and B. Everything is coming up into two colors, right? Now you're able to see that thing, right? That is coming in the two colors, orange and the blue. So the blue one is for the A and the orange one is for the B, right? So this is basically how we just make these types of plots, right? This is basically how we just make these types of plots. And basically this was a bar plot which we have in the matplotlib library. Okay, now further we'll be seeing some more plots in the matplotlib library. So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So now basically today with the help of the matplotlib library, we are going to see actually that how we can make the pie charts, right? We all know about the pie charts, right? That it is of round shape, and according to the whatever the percent you actually give there, according to that we get different pies in that, right? This is actually what we are going to make today, the pie chart with the help of the matplotlib library which we have in the Python programming, right? Okay, so very first thing that I'll be just doing here is that I'll be writing here text and I'll be defining the name for my plot that I am gonna make today, right? So here my plot name is actually pie chart. Pie chart, right? This is the plot which we are going to make, and let me remove it like this one. Right, let me zoom in as well so that it is absolutely clear to you that what I am writing here. So let me just one time zoom out. Fine here. Okay, so now we are going to see that how we can make the pie chart. So I'll be letting you know the whole procedure that how to make the pie charts. I'm making a small data on my own, and I'll be letting you know the procedure, and then you can just try this on any particular data set, whatever you just wish to do, right? Okay, so we are starting up with the matplotlib library, right? This pie chart which I'm going to make it with the help of the matplotlib library. So my very first thing that I need to do here is that I need to import this particular library with the help of which I am going to make my pie chart, right? So I'll be writing here import matplotlib, and I'll just import the .pyplot here. Okay, not only matplotlib, with the help of matplotlib.pyplot as, and it goes here plt, right? This is actually how I'll be importing out my matplotlib.pyplot library and giving it a short form as plt, right? Okay, now we're making the pie charts where the slices will be ordered, and basically we'll be plotting the counter as the clockwise. Okay, we'll be doing the things like this right here. So let's say I want to plot a pie chart in which I had, let's say, I want to show that how many percent of student. Let's say I just done a survey on a school, and according to that survey only, I just want to plot a pie chart and want to show that how many percent of students eat which fruits. Let's say 30% eats banana, let's say 20% eats oranges. So that I have just done a survey, let's say, on a school, and now I just want to show that pictorially with the help of the pie chart, right? So it is a pictorial representation, right? With the pie chart, we just get out the circle, and inside that we just get the percent of things, whatever we are just getting with the particular names. This is what is a pictorial representation, right? So we are just gonna make the same today. So I'd be writing here, first of all, I'd be giving the name for the fruits, okay? Right, let's say I would be taking here 4 fruits, okay? So let's say first one is the apple, and second here I have, let's say second I have here grapes, yeah, and let's say third I have here as orange, and let's say fourth I have strawberry, let's say strawberry. Right, so let's say these are the 4 fruits on which I have done out a survey on a particular school, and according to that I would be writing out that what are the number of things, what are the number of percent of students, all those things I'll be writing out here, right? So this is my one of the variables, that is fruits, and onto this I am storing these 4 types of fruits, right? Now basically I'll be making some another variable, and onto that I'll be storing the percentage. Okay, on that I'll be storing the percentage. Fine. So let's say I'll be writing here size. Okay, let's say size is the variable which I am actually using. So for putting out the percentage, as that only contains the numbers, so I'm just declaring a list, right? So let's say I just found that 25 students eat apple. Let's say 10 of them eat basically 10% prefer the grapes. Then let's say basically after that 30% of the students prefer the orange, and let's say 35% of the students prefer the strawberries, right? Let's say this is the whole idea. Fine. So size for that I have just put out the size as a 25%, 10%, 30% and 35%. Now make sure that whatever the size you are putting here, that is basically you are putting 4, 5, 6 and whatever you're just putting, the sum of all of them, the numbers which you're putting here, that should be 100 only. It should not exceed 100 and it should not decrease 100. It should only and only be 100. So you can just have a look here that what are numbers I have taken here, what are percentages I have taken. If it is sum all of them, so it will actually become 100, right? So 30 plus 1 is 40, and then we have here 50, 60, 70, 75, and 75 plus 25 is 100, right? So that I have done here. Make sure to follow this thing. Do not basically do not make the error here. Otherwise, your pie chart will not be plotted correctly. Right? This is done. Now we have one feature here in the pie chart that let's say you have seen many a times that the pie chart appears, right? Now from that pie chart, a small slice of the pie is coming outside. Like that basically comes a little bit outside. That we are able to see in a little bit differentiated way, little bit outside from the normal circle that is actually appearing in the pie chart, right? We had normally seen that thing many a times. So in that case, how to do that particular thing, how to place a slice of that pie outside the pie chart, outside, not totally outside, but a little bit of outside that. Right now we are just going to use. So I'm just taking a variable that is explode here, and inside that I'll be writing that I do not want to explode the 25%. I do not want to explode the 10%. Let's say I want this 30%, that is my orange, to come a little bit outside, right? So in that case, I'd be writing the percent that how much I just want. I want just only 0.1 of this to come outside, right? That I have written. And I would put up 0 here again. So what it will do, it will form my 25%, my 10%, my 35% in one proper pie and one proper circle, and the 30% which we have written, that will be coming a little bit outside the circle. Right? This is the whole idea which is gonna appear. Now, after that, basically, what I would just do is that I'll be defining the figure and the x's. So I would just define here fig1, comma, ax1. Okay, and I would be just ax1, where is that? Right here. And here I'd be dividing the plt dot subplot. So plt dot subplots, right? And here goes the bracket. Right, this is actually done. Now what I would just do here is that I'll be plotting out my pie chart. So in that case, I'll be writing here ax1 dot pi. This pi means that I want to plot out my pie chart here. Right, put out the brackets here, put out the bracket. Now, what is the variable in which I have stored the size? Right, so the same one is here size we have taken, right, in which I have stored the percentage for the fruit. Right, so that is basically my size. I wrote that. After that, we have a parameter that is explode. Right, I mentioned that thing. So for the explode means that do you want any part of that to come outside? So for that we had actually stored that in the same variable which is explode. So here explode is equal to explode. Now do not worry that this is one of my parameter which I am having, and this is the another variable which I am passing on to this parameter. Make sure to remember this thing. I am again repeating, this is the parameter and this is the variable in which I have stored the value for this parameter. Okay, these both are not actually same. Right, I'll put out a comma here. And what about my labels? So my labels, now I have stored my labels into the variable that is fruit. So here goes the fruits. So labels is equal to fruits. Right, I would put out a comma again. Let me come down. Right, now to put out a comma here. Fine, now we have another parameter that is auto PCT. That is basically help us to write the percentage of the things inside the pie. Okay, inside the pie chart. So auto PCT, I will put out a this inverted comma here. Put out a percent sign, percent 1.1. And here goes the F, and again I will be putting out a 1% here. Not 1%, I will be putting out double percent signs. This is how actually we just write. Okay, make sure to remember this thing. Do not forget that out. Right, I would again put out a comma here. Now, do I want the shadow? SHADOW. Now, shadow will basically come onto that pie which is coming out of the pie chart a little bit. Right, the shadow will come at that place. Yes, I want the shadow to come. So in that case, I will be writing here as true. Right. And what should be my starting angle? So start angle. Okay, start angle. So that I want here as to be 90 degree. Right, this is all which I have written. Now basically what I would just do here, I'd be writing ax1 dot axis. Now what is this ax1 dot axis? Inside this I'd be writing equal, equal. Now what this will do, so equal is basically it is actually a aspect ratio that that pi is drawn as a circle only. It will basically ensure, this is equal is an aspect ratio that will ensure that the pi actually which you are drawing, that is drawn as a circle only, right? So in that case, I just put out this equal here. And at last, I'll be simply writing here PLT dot show, and I would just put out the bracket like this, right? Now, okay, now basically I will just run it out here. Now I will just run it on pie chart here, right? So here we got the answer, right? Now the graph. Now just have a look. See, I'm getting here as, okay, we started with the apple. On apple, I'm getting 25%. Then I'm getting the grape share as 10%. My orange is 30%, and my strawberry is 35%. That is all which we have given, right? Now, other than that, what I had given explode is equal to 30. I have given the orange, for that orange one I have given, right? So in that case, this orange one, orange pie which I am having here, it is coming a little bit outside of my pie chart, right? Now, okay, I am just zooming this thing as well. Fine. Now, other than that, basically, you are able to see the shadow as well, right? You are able to see the shadow. This gray line which you are able to see, that is the shadow. So, yeah, I have written shadow is equal to true. So, in that case, basically, it is coming. Now, let me do one thing. I should remove this 0.1 from here. Okay, if I just remove that, and now if I just run it, now just see, have a look that this orange is again gone back into my whole pie chart which was appearing. And here basically now none of the like pies are coming outside, right? Let's say I want to make that pie that is 10 outside. So I would just 10 I have declared at the second position, right? So here in the explode at the second position, I would write 0.1. And now I would just run it. So this particular, this grapes part, that is my 10th this is my 10%, that will actually come outside my pie. Okay, here the names are actually written, and inside this, whatever the percentage is this particular pie is occupying, that particular percentage is written here. Right, so this is actually how we just make a pie chart in the matplotlib library. So here I had taken out a variable that was fruits, and into that I had stored the fruits that I wanted to wanted the names to come here, right? After that I have taken the size and basically declared the size for that all of the things, right? After that I have just written that at what place do I want the explode, then I have declared the figure 1 and the x is 1, and I declared plt.subplots here. Fine. And then I just made out my pie chart. In the pie chart, I just wrote size, explode is equal to explode, label is equal to fruits, and basically auto PCT is equal to, I just wrote this thing so that my names should come here, right? Okay. And after that, I simply wrote shadow is equal to true. If I just make this shadow as false, then the shadow which you are able to see, that will not at all come, right? And my x is all equal, and at last I just wrote the plt.show. So this is how my pie chart is actually looking. Right, so I hope I just made this thing very clear to you, that how we make a pie chart with the help of the matplotlib library. Right, so this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. Now today I am going to tell you regarding the pie chart. Like we had already seen regarding the pie chart in the previous video, but now today I will be telling you that how you can make different shapes of pie chart, like different sizes of the pie chart, how you can put out the labels inside that. All those things that today I will be telling you regarding the pie chart, right? So let me just do one thing here. Let me quickly write out the text as well, so that it is easier for us to understand that what actually are we talking about today, right? I would just write here pie chart and features. Okay, let me just put out the heading like this: pie chart and features. Right, let's get started with this particular thing. So as you know that we are dealing with a matplotlib library. So what my first step would be, I'll be importing out my matplotlib.pyplot library. Okay, that's the first thing that I would be doing out here. Right here. Okay, let me start writing out here as well. So we'll be discussing about all the rest of the things within the video itself. Okay, so I would just write here import, that would be matplotlib dot pyplot as plt. Okay, import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. This is my library that I am actually importing, which is matplotlib.pyplot, and I have given it a short form as plt. Right now, as I will be taking my data on my own, right, I will just not use any particular data set here, so that even if you just want to use out from your end, you can just write out this program and try this as well. But if I just try it on our data, so in that case you need to download that data, and there are several things which you need to do out, right? So I would not be taking any particular data. So let's say I'll be taking the same example which I have taken in the previous video, and I'll be enhancing that pie chart only, right? So let's say my Okay, my variable name is fruits, and into that I would be storing out some fruits. Let's say first one is apple. Let's say second I have banana, and let's say on the third place I have, let's say, oranges, and let's say on the fourth place I have grapes. Okay, so these are the four fruits which I am actually plotting out here. Let's say, take it as an example that let's say I done out a survey in any school, and from that I had just got out a percentage, a number of students that actually eat out this particular fruit. Okay, so okay, this one fruits is done. So after that I would be giving out as another variable as number. Okay, fine. Into that I'd be making out a list, and I'd be storing out different fractions for each and every. Let's say for one I am storing as, let's say I am having, for apple let's say I'm having 20, for let's say banana I am having 15, then let's say I am having here as 40. So okay, 40 to 60 and 70, 75. Now I'm left with 25. Okay, right. Now just please make sure to remember one very important thing here, that whenever you just take out whatever your numbers you just put out for labels which you are having, that should actually have a sum of 100, not less than 100 and not greater than 100. It should equal to be 100. Okay, so that is the like whole of the pie chart. It will be plotted when your sum of all the numbers, sum of all the labels, sum of all the percentages which you are taking, that is actually 100. So in that case it will be giving you the correct pie chart as an output to you, right? Always make sure to take out the numbers, keep them in a such a fraction that sum of all of them come to be 100 only. Right, this is done. Now what I would just do is that I'll be making out the figure and the x's. So for that I'll be taking fig, okay, that is fig, comma, and here goes the x's. So fig and x's are actually made, and into that I'll be writing out PLT dot subplots, and I'll be giving out dimension. Okay, now here we just give out dimensions actually. Let me put out this, and I have 2 rows and 2 columns. So remember that once we had dealt out with the histogram as well. So in that as well we had taken out the 2 dimensions, 2 cross 2 we had taken, right? So in that we were having 4 places. That was 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. These were the 4 places which we were having, and onto these 4 places different histograms were appearing. So same procedure we are going to apply today as well, that I'm just going to take 4 pie charts here, and all those 4 pie charts would be having some different shapes, so that sorry, not the different shape would be same, that is circle, only different size will be having. Okay, and that will be at the 4 places. Right, now what I would just do is that I'll be making out the first of very first one, that is A00. Okay, for that I'll be writing x's, and into the bracket I'll be writing 0, comma 0. Okay, so I'm just plotting out this plot at the x's, that is 0, comma 0. What I want to make, I want to make out a pie chart, so I just put out a dot and wrote the pie into the bracket. Okay, instead of number, let me just take it to as values. That is the like a more clearable variable name. So I would just write here as values. Okay, values, comma. Now what about my labels? So for the labels actually I have fruits. Okay, fruits is the variable. In that I have stored out my label. So I just put out that thing here. Put out a comma, and I would just write auto PCT. That is also auto percentage, right? We had already discussed about this auto PCT in the previous video. So that is basically help us to write and put out the things inside the labels, right? So this is what the auto PCT is used for. So we have different pies in a pie chart, right? So number of values you are going to give, the number of pies you are going to get. So we just want to write out these values inside the pies as well. So for that we just use out this auto PCT. Okay, like this, I'll be putting out the percent. I would just write 1.1f. Okay, this is one value which we actually have for the auto PCT. Okay, double percent, we just put it out here. Okay, this is done. And now what I would just put out the shadow. So shadow would be, I just want it to be there, so I would just put out there as true. Fine. Right, so this I have made out for my x's 0, comma 0. Right, now it's the time for the x's 0, comma 1. So I will just write your x's and it goes 0, comma 1. Put out a dot here, and now I would be just using out the pi. Right, now what are the values? So in that case I'll be putting out the variable which is values, in which I have stored out all of the values for this particular pie chart. What about my labels? Labels will also remain same, that is fruits. Right. Now, what about the auto PCT? That is auto PCT. Now, this value actually will change here. Okay, that will actually change, and this is the value only which will be giving me the increase and the decrease in the size of the pie chart. Fine, so I've just put out a here percent, I'll write 0.0f, and that goes percent, right? Like this, it will be actually there. Right, now what I would just do after this, I'll put out a comma, and here I'll be writing shadow is equal to, and I would just put out here as true. Right, so true I have done. Now I have even one another parameter. Let me put out a comma, and we have explode. Now we remember we had already discussed about the explode in the previous video. Let me give you an overview that what does that actually meant. So explode actually meant that, let's say we are having whole pie chart on inscribed in one each other. Let's say I just want one of the pie to come a little bit of outside from that particular pie chart, right? So in that case, we just use out this explode. Okay, I would just write 0, comma, let's say I would just want 0.1, comma, 0, comma, 0, right? This is how we just put out the values for the explode. Okay, when I just run out this program, then you will be getting the more clear idea that what I just meant from this explode actually. Okay, right, so this one is done. Now I had made out for 0, comma 1, fine. Now what I would just do is that I will be putting out the radius and the text file size for the smaller pie, right? Okay, for that I'll be writing some first of all variables. That is, first of all I have patches, then I have actually text, and then I have auto texts, right? These are the three ones which I would be using out here. Now is equal to sign, and I'll be using out the x's. So that is a x's, right? Put out a 0, and my x's is now 0, comma 1, because for 0, 0 we have done, for 0, 1 we have done. Now it's a term to 1, comma 0. I put out that thing. Put out a dot and use here the pi bracket. I have here values. Then what about my labels? So in my labels I have fruits. That is done. Okay, 1 second. So here, right? Put out a comma. Now I have auto PCT. I have auto PC, that is auto percentage. Put out a percent sign. I'll be writing here 0. Okay, that is not 0 point, that is 0.0 f, and again double percent, right? That I have done out here. Now what about the another thing that I have put out a comma? What about the text prop? That is my text proportions actually. Okay, text props is actually my text proportions. So in that I want the size to now be smaller. Okay, so in that case I just put out the size as a smaller. Fine. Put out a comma here. What about my shadow? So I want my shadow to be true. Okay, and last parameter I am having as a radius. So what about the radius? I just want the radius to be 0.5, let's say. That I have done out here. Fine, this is the thing that I have completed. Now what I would just do after this is that I would be taking the next thing, right? So here I'm writing, I just make the percent text even smaller. Okay, just making the percent text even smaller. Fine, so I'm just writing plt dot set t. Okay, plt dot set t. Put out the bracket, and then I'll be using auto text. Okay, just 1 second. Yes, plt dot set p auto text. Put out a comma here. Now I'll be using the size is equal to, and right here x dash is smaller. Fine, this is the size which I had put out here. Now what about my auto text? Okay, auto text, into the bracket I'll be writing 0 dot set, and after this basically what I have, I'll be setting out a particular color. Okay, so let's say that my text color I have set it out as white. Fine, that I have done. Now I'll be using again for making out the 1, comma 1. Fine, so let's do that thing. Okay, now what I would just do that, I will just copy out this whole line, this particular line in which I have declared out the, made out the 1, comma 1, because 1, comma 0, because this is the same thing which I'll be doing for the 1, comma 1 as well. Some things actually change, that I'll be telling you what to change out here. Patches text and auto text will remain same. Instead of the 0 here, 1, comma 1 will come. After that values are same. I have labels as fruits, then I have auto PCT will remain same, text will remain same, shadow will remain same. Okay, shadow will remain same. Okay, just 1 second. Radius will actually be remain same. Now I have just one more thing to add here, that is explode. Okay, explode is equal to 0, comma let's say 0.05, comma 0, comma 0. Fine, explode also I have this added out here. Fine. Again, I'll be setting up the PLT. So that is PLT dot set p Into the bracket, I have auto text, comma, what about my size? So size would be again x is smaller, right? Come on to a new line here. I would be using here auto text, okay, auto text. In the bracket, I'll be using 0 dot. What about the set colors? I'll be using set underscore color as white, right? And I just use that out. At simple as I'll be using plt dot show and the bracket. Okay, just 1 second. Let me remove this thing, extra thing from here. Fine. Now it's the time for running out the program. Fine. We're just getting some error that okay, it is during high level okay, that is could not convert this into full float, x is smaller. Okay. So that is actually size, size. Fine. Now basically, okay, it is again giving me something. Let me see that what is giving me. So size is equal to x is smaller. Okay, plt dot set p, that is okay. We have auto text, comma, size is equal to x is small. We have not x is smaller. It's small, and here also it's small, not smaller. Okay. Fine. Now basically we just got out our pie chart which we had made it, right? Now just have a look that it is giving me at 4 positions, right? First position is 0 0 0 1. We have 1 0 and 1 1. Fine. So first two are coming absolutely same. Only difference is that here this one is the exploded. That is, it is coming. The pie is coming a little bit of outside, and these two are having the same, like same thing, and only this thing is coming outside. This like this pie is coming outside. Only this is the difference between these, right? So this is how actually you can make out the pie charts with of different shapes and at different positions as well, putting out the labels and everything in a proper way, right? This is how you can just make out the pie chart, right? So I hope I just made this thing very much clear to you that how you can make out this type of pie chart, multiple pie charts into one program only. Right, so this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So now today into the matplotlib library, we are going to see about the box plot with custom filled colors. This is our topic of discussion today. Today we'll be seeing that how we can actually make out a box plot, and that has actually some custom filled colors. With this as well, I'll be telling you about two types of box plot today. Till now we had seen, like, it's most common that we had only seen out a rectangular shape of the box, right? Till now we had seen that. Now there is one more shape for the box plot, and that is notch shape. That is NOTCH. That as well I'll be discussing out today with all of you, right? So let me first of all put out a text here, and let me write out the heading actually that we are going to discuss today. And before that, let me just zoom in out here. So okay, 175 is actually okay. This is the best one. Okay, I would just put out a comment in the starting, and I would just remove out this bold text in the between, and here I'll be writing out the topic of discussion, that is box plot with custom filled colors. This is what I just want to do today, right? I want to make out a box plot with a custom filled colors, which we are actually having here, right? This is our topic of discussion today. Now basically what I would just do out here is that I would be plotting out the plot for this particularly thing, right? Fine. So first of all, as I mentioned that this box plot with custom filled colors, this is a topic which comes under the matplotlib library, right? As I mentioned you this thing as well. So first of all, let's import out that matplotlib.pyplot library, and after that we'll be seeing that how to go ahead with this plot, right? So, and with the help of the use of the matplotlib, I would be importing out the numpy library as well, because I'll be taking out some random values and just working upon them for making out the box plot. Okay, this is what I'll be just doing out here. So I'll be writing here import. Okay, let me just write out correctly. Right here, import that is matplotlib.pyplot as plt. This is what I just wanted to write out here, right? That is matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Right, next what do I have actually here? I have next is numpy. That is import numpy as np. Okay, so both of the libraries I have imported out here. So these are the two ones which I'll be using throughout my code today. Next, Now basically what I'll be just doing out here is that I'll be first of all random, like taking out some random data set. Okay, so now what I'll be just doing here is that I would be making that random data set with the help of the NumPy library. So this is the reason that why I have imported out the NumPy library onto this particular code, right? So let me begin here with the NumPy library. Let me just make out a variable. Let's say that variable is okay, data. Okay, let's say this is my variable. Now that is equal to, here I'll be writing into the bracket, I'll be writing np dot random dot normal. Now normal is a function that I'll be using here for taking out some random values from the random variable. Okay, so here instead of no, that should be n and then p here. Okay, np dot random dot normal. Okay, into the bracket I need to write 0 comma and here, okay, 0 comma, and then basically what I could just add here is that I could add std, that is standard. Okay, and after that I could put out a comma, and what about my size? So let's say I just want the size to be 100. Okay, let me just show you that what I'm just writing out here, right here. So here we have this normal has 3 parameters, this and this. All of the 3 I have filled out here, right? After that I can apply a for loop, that for, okay, for std is the variable actually which I have taken out here, like using in my for loop. So for std in range, and what's my range that I just want to give here, that let's say that is 1 comma 4. Okay, so here I just put out the for loop, and with that for loop even here I just use out the NumPy library and the random module. This is what I had just done here. Okay, hope you just got out this point clearly. Now next thing that I'll be doing here is that I'll be making here as labels a variable. Okay, now into this labels variable, what I'll be storing that, let's say I would be making 3 box plots into one single plot. Okay, in that basically 3 boxes will be present. So I just need to give out some particularly name to that, all of the 3 boxes that will be appearing, right? So that only I'll be writing out here. So let's say I'm giving here some random, that is, let's say A, B and C. Okay, let's say this is what I just wanted here to give. That is okay. Now what I'm just making is that I'll be making out the fig, right? Fig, comma, and I would be making here x is 1 and x is 1 comma just one second, x is 1 comma x is 2. These are the 2 things that I'll be making out here. Put an equal to sign, and here basically now what we can just do, I can simply write plt dot subplots. Okay, plt dot subplots. Now what number of rows do I want and what number of columns do I want? So I want here the n rows. We have the parameter which is n rows for defining out the number of rows. So the number of rows which I just want here is 1. Okay, and what was the number of columns? So number of columns, n columns, so that I want here too. Now here, like, we are making out a box plot, and how come this rows and columns came here? So as I mentioned, that we're making 2 plots from this box plot. First one will be the rectangular shape, second one will be the notch shape. So what I just want is that a row should be same, and in between that row only there should be 2 columns, and in one column my simple rectangular shape box plot should be present, and onto the second column my simple notch shape like box plot should be like coming here. Okay, this is what I just wanted. So in that case I just taken 1 row and 2 columns. You can either change this as well, you can put 2 rows and 1 column. This also you can just do according to your choice, right? Now that is okay. I would put out a comma here, and now I'd be adding out a fig size. That what figure size do I actually want out here, right? So let's say my figure size that I am looking for is, let's say I'm looking for 10 comma 5. Okay, this is my figure size which I wanted here. Now I'll be first of all making out my rectangular box plot, first thing. Okay, so for that I'll be writing here box underscore plot, box underscore plot 1. This is the variable that I'm making here. So for that I had made out already x is 1, ax1, right? I put out that. Now for making a box plot, we just write box and plot, like this we just write out, right? I had written that. Now the variable into which I have stored my data, so I have the variable which is data only. Now we have one parameter which is VERT, that is my vertical box alignment. This VERT actually means my vertical box alignment. So I'll be setting that as true here. Okay, vert is equal to 2. After that I have another one which is patch underscore artist. Now what is this parameter actually used for? So this parameter is actually used for filling out the color into the boxes, right? So I would just set that as well true, because we just wanted the box to be colored, right? So I'm just setting that as true. And what about the labels? For labels, I have put out the same variable, that is labels only. So I will just write out that thing. Fine. Now come to the next line. Now what I just want you to print it, I have here even want out the title of the plot to be printed as well. So I would just write ax1 dot set underscore title. Okay, ax1 dot set underscore title, and into the bracket I just want to be put here as, let's say, a box plot of a rectangular shape. Okay, let's say this is what I just wanted to be printed here. Box plot of rectangular shape. Okay. Now come to a new line. This one is actually done. Now second which comes here is my notch shaped. Okay. So for that as well, I'll be just writing out the things. Let's say the variable for that is box underscore plot, and here I'll be putting here as 2. Okay, the procedure will be same. I'll be writing ax2. Now ax2 was for my second box plot which I'll be making. So ax2 dot box plot. Into the variable, my variable is data, in which I have stored out my data. Now next here basically I'll be writing here notch. The variable which notch is one of the parameter which will help you to give out the notch shape of that box plot that will be appearing. So I'm just setting that as true here. Okay. Then the same parameter which was word, that will also I would set that here as true. So what was that actually used for? So that was actually used for printing out the vertical box alignment, right? Next I was having patch underscore artist, right? This was another variable parameter which I was having. So this as well I would be setting it as true only. And at last what do I have? I have my labels. So variable for labels is labels only, because the variable which I had made out, that is labels, right? And here I'd be setting out a title. So ax2 dot set underscore, I have here title, and into the bracket I have, okay, so I'll be writing a box plot of notch shape. This is what I just want to give out one of my headings. That is okay, right? Now I just decide here that what colors do I just want to fill out here. Okay, so for that I could just make out a variable that is colors. Let's say, okay, I could make a list and apply all the colors which I just wanted to be filled here. So let's say I just want one color to be red, and let's say another color I want it to be, let's say, blue. Okay, yeah, blue. And let's say the third color, okay, and the third color, let's say I just wanted here to be green, and this should be light blue. I would just write here light blue, and I just want it to be light green as well, light green. And this red is too dark, right? So instead of this, I could just simply take yellow as well. So yellow. Okay, this is what we can just take out here. Fine, these are my colors which I just wanted to be plotted. So I could just simply apply a for loop that for box underscore plot. So for box plot in, what are my two variables in which I have saved out my box plot? That is box underscore plot 1, comma, and the second one is box underscore plot 2, right? These are the two variables in which I have set out my box plot. So for these two variables, so after that for patch, comma, so for patch, comma, color in, and here I'd be using zip, and into the bracket I'd be writing that box plot, okay, box underscore plot which I had just used above, and into the bracket here I'd be writing here as boxes, okay, and after this I would be putting out the variable in which I've stored my colors, so that is like this, colors, okay. colors, right? Let me just come down first of all. So right here, okay, I just put out the colors here as well. Again, this is my for loop, so I would put out the colon, come to a new line. So I'd be writing patch dot set underscore face color. Okay, patch dot set underscore face color, and what color to set out here? So that is a variable color as well. That I have set out here, fine. Right, now let's say if you just want to add out a horizontal grid line as well onto your box plot, that will be appearing. So how to do that thing, that I will be also letting you know. So let's say for AX, okay, so for AX in, what are the variables which we have taken? That was AX1, AX2, right? These were the two axes which we have actually taken out. Come to a new line here, and I would just write AX dot Y axis dot grid, ax dot y axis dot grid, and into the bracket I'd be writing here as 2. Okay, I would just set that grade as true. After that, I could just write Ax dot set under score X label. X label, okay, and into the bracket I could just give some X label. That I could, what I can just give here, that I have different samples. Let's say this is the on the x-axis I just gave out this thing, and let's say even on y as well I just want. So Ax dot set under score Y label, that is Y label. Into the bracket I can just give here something like okay, that is the, let's say, observed values. Okay, I just would like to write it like this: values observed. Okay, values observed. Right, and I could just come down here and I could simply write here PLT dot show and the brackets like this. Okay, and now I would just try to run this out here for a while. And yes, now here we have our box plots which are appearing. Now just have a look. That first box plot is basically, that is the rectangular shape one, and the second one is notch shape. This is what we call that this box plot is of the notch shape. Okay, this is how it actually looks like. Fine. So hope you are understanding that different shapes we have ABC, and here we have the values observed, and all that things are actually okay because we have only taken out some random things, some outliers as well we are getting out here, but that is okay. The main thing here was to that first of all let you know that how you can just make out the box plot. Second thing was how to you can just fill out the colors inside the box plot, and the third thing was to tell you how a notch box plot is actually made and how it actually looks like. Right, so hope you had got the idea regarding this thing, that how we can just make out this notch box plot, how you can make out the box plot, how you can set out the like grids, grids behind this box plot, and how you can give it the different colors, right? So I hope that this much thing will be very much clear to you, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.